thing on?
Check.
Hello?
Test.
Hey,
microphone.
Hello.
Who are you?
What?
No, you're supposed. Okay.
Hello. What?
I'm gonna count you in, and
What
then
do
then you say.
What do we do?
Jeff,
Okay,
who is
I'm
this?
gonna count. I'm gonna count. This is the new host. I'm gonna count you down, and then you say, "All right, Ben, tell me about this food poisoning."
Okay, what's the name-
Five,
what's the name of the
four-
show
It
again?
doesn't matter. 5, 4, 3.
Hello and welcome to the Giant Food Poisoning Cast. What's going on, Ben? Hello. What's your story this week?
It was.
What did you eat?
It was one of those. It was an Inside Out burger.
What?
Where they got the cheese on the Inside Out cheeseburger. So the cheese is inside the patty.
Oh.
But by virtue of that, you get a little bit of uncooked burger all around that cheese if it's not done properly.
And I feel like if people are putting cheese in the middle of it, they're inclined to cook it less because they don't want it to bubble out.
Yeah.
Right? That seems like an advanced level.
Isn't that a Juicy Lucy?
Yeah, so that's what I thought. That's how I've always seen it, at least at Mel's.
I was hoping that an
Diner.
Inside Out burger meant 2 patties with
Yeah.
one layer of
like a
bun in
double
the middle.
down.
Double
yeah.
downs.
Did you know double downs may technically be more healthy than a normal KFC chicken sandwich because the carbs.
Well, what about like the breading on the chicken though?
It's
Is that not?
way less than a bun, apparently.
Like
Anyways, my plan on Sunday was to bring a bunch of wings to go watch my first ever WWE event at a friend's place, and I just got food poisoning instead and had 3 dozen chicken wings in my house.
Wait, and like not equipped to eat them
And,
because
like-
of the food
Oh, wait,
poisoning?
you didn't get the food poisoning from the wings?
No, the
wow.
the wings were just like I'm gonna go to Safeway on my way home and get all these wings, and then what I'm not feeling so great, so hot.
Okay.
What did you get it from?
The burger.
The burger.
Oh, the burger, right?
burger
Yeah,
from the
not at
previous
event. That's right,
evening.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's right.
Where'd you get this burger?
I don't want to shame the restaurant.
Okay,
No,
well,
no.
I'm more interested in, was it a restaurant?
Alameda. It was a restaurant in
I mean,
Alameda.
The city of Alameda gave you food poisoning.
They've got questionable food preparation practices.
I ate at a Chevy's in Alameda once, so...
Maybe you should issue a public warning.
Yeah, I mean, maybe our first sign of this wasn't the best restaurant in the world was I walked in the door, literally not a single other person in there, and the guy he asked how many, we said 4, and he looked at the menu or looked at his piece of paper and went, "Do you have a reservation?"
That's good stuff.
for a burger place?
Ooh.
Well, it was like it wasn't a burger place per se, but
Okay.
they had a burger on the menu. It was like American food,
Sure.
just like classic.
Okay.
Were you there early? Like maybe you beat the dinner
it
rush?
was a weird. It was like 5:30,
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't completely unreasonable that it would be empty.
Yeah.
It's just
You get a senior
Come on.
special. Yeah, but I don't know. I like an empty restaurant.
but like no, do you have a reservation?
That's good shit. Whatever, man. That guy's entertaining himself. That's not
I
for you.
guess.
That's for him
I
because he
guess.
has to keep it going.
He does.
He doesn't have
Speaking
much
of
else.
keeping it going,
Yeah.
kept it going all through the next day.
Oh yeah.
So where are the wings now?
Yeah.
I ate half of them like once I recovered. And then the other half are just still in the fridge. They're gonna go bad.
I was
Like
gonna say you should
today.
let them sit for a couple of days and then eat them.
Yeah.
Keep this
let 'em-
train.
Maybe like out the fridge,
Let them age.
Yeah.
Refry them. What about that?
refried wings.
Fried wings.
Refried wings. Yeah. Get
Is
a little
that-
bit more crisp on them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't advise to do it, but I want you to do it.
I actually,
I'd like to hear about it.
I saw a chicken wing that was deep fried 100 times on YouTube,
Okay.
and they slice they just kept dipping it and frying it and dipping it and frying it, and
Whoa.
it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's
Right,
like
yeah.
it's like 99% fry, but they cut it in half and got into the wing in the middle, and it was still hot. It had just been so encased that the heat
Yeah.
and kept it extra heat, extra warm, extra moist, extra delicious.
I mean, that's how like the world works, right? That like
Yep.
the molten core of the earth is just magma. It's just like that chicken wing.
Yeah, if somebody was to cut into the earth, the middle would get real cool,
Yeah.
real fast.
And it would be a chicken wing.
It would be a delicious, moist chicken wing.
Saying that chicken wing has its own magnetic field.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting to me as I rediscover my own hosting methodology.
Yes.
That you went with the food poisoning and not the roller coasters. Because my question was going to be, are you able to ride roller coasters at your current height?
They don't always tell you don't ride this roller coaster because you might be too tall.
I mean, they're all about the minimum height.
Yeah.
But I've never seen much about a maximum before.
I've been on a roller coaster like at the county fair where I ducked because I didn't want to risk it. It could have very well just, you're moving fast, you see something coming, your instinct. And I was in the car by myself, so I could kind of go
Okay.
horizontal.
County Fair especially not known for rigorous
I was gonna
safety
say,
standards.
yeah, like the people running rides at the county fair look like they maybe are not paying the closest
Yeah.
of it.
I feel like
that's an audience. I was about to say fucking that everyone that runs rides at the county fair is methed the fuck out of their minds and all this other nasty shit, but I don't know that. I feel like that's an underrepresented. If
It's
you
just
were
the
out-
ones around us.
Look, maybe that is.
what do they do when there is no county fair?
There's always a county fair somewhere.
Okay. Oh, are they
right?
traveling?
Yeah, they travel.
Wait, are they literal carnies?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They're hooking them. I want to know if you're out there and you build rides if you travel with a fucking county fair and you build the zipper in every town all summer long. I want to hear those stories. I feel like that's.
I want to hear the most anyone's got zipped on the zipper.
Yeah.
I want to hear like your horror stories from the UFO, gravity, gravitron.
Yeah,
I do feel like the majority of the amusement-related fatalities we hear about are coming out of a county or state fair type context.
I would think so. And
you don't hear about a lot of Disney World accidents.
Well, they keep that in the hush.
Yeah, they've got a whole
okay.
like
Disney runs the town around it.
Sure,
you know,
that's fair.
Kissimmee St. Cloud ain't no one talking.
That's fair.
they just make people disappear.
Yeah,
You're going in the Disney vault.
that's right. Your head's going right next to Walt's.
No tilt-a-whirl for me, thank you.
Did I miss anything? Like I don't want to launch us into a huge wrestling.
Oh God.
I thought it was.
Thing.
I thought. It was
Brad. By the way, since you're gone, this is just 3/4 of wrestling.
I
podcast.
heard. I heard every week that I wasn't here, I got complaints from people saying, "Please come back and tamp down the wrestling." Talk.
I thought the Royal Rumble was a pretty good show.
It not having the possibility of Roman Reigns winning, I wish him a speedy
Oh
recovery.
yeah. Is there any update? Is he doing?
He's
okay?
in the movie with The Rock and Jason Statham.
Huh.
So he's been in Hawaii filming that. So
he
that's
should be
hopefully-
okay. That's a good sign, right?
Yeah, you'd think.
But yeah, that was a great Rumble.
Yeah, I liked it.
Fantastic Rumble. The women's Rumble started a little bit shaky, but the end of it, man.
Yeah, that was good story. I felt like they got where they needed to get, and they did it in a really cool way.
Who's on top now?
Who rumbled the hardest?
Who's got the belt?
Becky Lynch rumbled the hardest.
Okay.
And then Seth Rollins also rumbled very hard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the men's rumble I thought maybe was a little more uneven, and they had it's been 20 years now, but they finally got back to men hitting women in the WWE.
Finally,
I know,
we're
right?
back.
Yeah, no, in the 90s, they were putting, but this was they have a woman who's like she's like larger and probably stronger than at least some of the men on the roster. So they had her come in and eliminate a guy, and then like she got kicked in the face by a dude, and some other stuff. I was like, oh, that's a weird choice, but okay.
The whole time, Rey Mysterio was very like, I don't know if I should be doing this.
Yeah, it was like a very tentative thing.
But I have to.
But then they were like, well, hey, it's every person for themselves.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I thought that was a weird story choice they made, but I don't know. I think generally they're like doing some all right stuff as they set up for WrestleMania. Like the stuff that they're getting going, I think is pretty decent shit.
When was that? Like
April,
couple months?
Yeah.
From now.
Yeah.
Where's the Royal Rumble in the list of annual events?
To me, it's
like WrestleMania is number one. Right?
Yeah. To me,
Okay.
it's maybe like number 2 or like a 1A. Like I really
It's like your CEO to your Evo.
Yeah. Yes, it's a major. Well, it is one of the big 4.
Okay.
Along with SummerSlam and Survivor Series, of course. I think the Royal Rumble is my favorite event that they do, and I think even in years where I have completely checked out of wrestling, I will always check back around that time, because that gives you it's a great opportunity to check the temperature of like what they're doing, because it's this whole thing where like, 30 people are in the ring and the winner faces the champion at WrestleMania. Like it's the part where they have the largest chance to totally do a 180 on whatever bad stories they're telling and fix everything to get ready for April. So it gives you that first sense of like, okay, what are they actually setting up for, and how's that shit gonna go? And so it's a good time to kind of dip back in and find out if you're going to be interested at all in the stuff that's going to happen for the next 3 months.
Was not expecting to come back to positive wrestling talk.
I know that's
been
that's
a
the
very
weirdest
long
part.
Well, they beat up that one writer, right? And that's good now.
Right. Yes.
Well, he wasn't a real writer.
And he was the general manager and wasn't even really that. And
So did you see when he came out for the Royal Rumble, did he take another dress shirt off to reveal another dress shirt?
It might have been a vest, but like Baron Corbin wears like this. It's not quite a business casual, but because it's open shirt.
It's kind of like club out.
Yes, exactly. He looks like a bouncer at a fucking upscale, a club that wants you to think it's upscale, but isn't actually upscale.
Yeah.
And yes, either that was a vest or he walked out and ripped off one dress shirt to reveal another one underneath. Either way, you can't really tell from watching it over and over again on a loop enough to where it's great. It's a great image.
I need another camera angle of that.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the documentary.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see on some of that stuff.
Baron Corbin sounds like a villainous name.
Yeah, he's yes, he gets a bad rap where like I think he got inserted into too many matches and his character was a little boring. But I feel like also he's one of the few very true actual bad guys in wrestling. Like a lot of the bad guys are still like kind of cool,
right?
And you can kind of like go like, oh, well, I'm going to buy a T-shirt for this guy because I still think he's cool. Nothing is fucking cool about this guy. He doesn't wrestle flashy. His finisher.
I don't know.
He's
You
just
just
all right.
said that he took off a dress shirt and revealed another dress shirt,
and now I like him. So
so you have to buy 2 of his shirts.
Yeah,
when you...
I guess so. But I think he's one of the few people out there that is like truly despicable. Of just like there's nothing to like about this guy, and that's perfect because you need guys like that in those roles.
It's impressive in its own way.
And I think modern wrestling fandom has gotten in a way where they can't accept that sort of stuff.
Where like everyone needs to be kind of likable.
Exactly. Or they like everyone wants to like everyone. Even when they're supposed to be the bad guys. And so when people are true bad guys, and sometimes that gets into very tasteless areas because it's fucking wrestling. And wrestling has made has firmly planted its flag in the fucking we will go there department. So like when Roman Reigns said he had leukemia, the first thing they did is have like his 2 friends, one turn on the other that very same night because no one would see it coming. And like they've invoked the leukemia stuff at like questionable times and kind of turned it, but also like they've turned like
real life death.
Yes, they've turned real. Yes, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Passed away. That was not that long ago, right?
No.
And then his daughter is a wrestler, and then they played off of that, like almost like not almost immediately, but very soon.
They put the image of her father on a table and tried to slam her through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, keep in mind, it's a storyline, and if she was not okay with that, she would have said, "Fucking no."
Do you think so?
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Based on what I hear about Vince McMahon, I don't know if wouldn't expect him to respect
I feel like
wishes.
there's enough, like, there's that, but also, like, I don't think he's going to go there unless people are okay with it.
But you're saying even Vince McMahon has a line?
Yeah, when it comes to that specific shit, I think so.
Okay.
And, they've turned, like, what, like, was it Ric Flair that they faked a heart attack on?
Did they?
You sure that was fake?
Or was that, like, Jerry the King Lawler had a heart attack?
Had
an actual heart attack. Was the Ric Flair one?
Oh yeah, that was a work.
Yeah. They worked a heart attack. Like they'll fucking go there because it's fucking wrestling, and that's the thing is like the fans want such a blurred line with reality that they just get worked over and over again.
Yeah,
like the people that think that they know exactly what's going on are the fucking biggest marks of them all now. Because they want to like everybody and all this other dumb shit. It's like it's really gotten fucked around in a real weird way.
Real mirror for society.
Totally, snake eating its own tail, fucking all the way down, and it's just a weird time.
Okay,
in wrestling for sure.
Yeah.
But whatever. I thought they put on a good show, and it's the first time I feel like that way about one of their big shows in a pretty long time. So,
like I said, this is not what I was expecting to hear. Okay, Jan.
Yes.
I remember enough about how this works to know that we have some business to get through.
Oh, boy.
Kingdom Hearts came out. Okay, help me understand, first of all. Did it just come out? Like, we got it
last week.
We got it Thursday morning.
I think it came out in Japan on Friday, and it's out here today.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay,
Yeah.
because we got it Thursday, and you guys like streamed it immediately because they didn't put any embargo on it. And I thought it was out Friday for everybody, but then just this morning I saw a bunch of people going like, it unlocks in 10 minutes. Like, here we go. But then again, also walking home Friday night, I happened to glance up at an apartment across the street that happened to have their giant TV right in the window.
Yeah,
sure,
and saw them playing Kingdom Hearts. Maybe it was an old Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it was 2.8.
Okay, maybe that's what was going on.
Dream
also,
drop distance.
I started feeling very uncomfortable about my neighbors. But that's
you should.
You can call if you see something, say something. Is what they say.
Here nor there. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts 3 is out.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is out. It's
Our
been
long international nightmares.
13 years, I want to say, since Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
But that's
Was
not
that
the
a PS2 game?
That was a PS2 game. Yes. I think originally Kingdom Hearts 3 was supposed to be a PS3 game.
I would absolutely believe that.
Yeah, I want to say like concept art dates back to like 06.
Yeah, I feel like they showed trailers of like concept stuff, but
Frozen wasn't out by then, so they had to wait.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think it got formally announced in 2013.
Okay. But there totally have been games that have released since 2 has come out, and some of them have been like middling quality of the type of game. But Kingdom Hearts 3, man, I'll start with the negatives.
It's Kingdom Hearts.
It's Kingdom. No.
Oh God.
Right off the bat, gummy ships are back, and gummy ships are the means of transportation between world to world. So it's almost like a mini game of like a shooter.
Right. Okay. I remember this. I remember this being something that people were initially excited about and then realized it was very tedious.
Because it's cool that you can customize your ship with all the blocks you can get, but it gets tedious having to do that every single time.
Yeah.
Here, it's now like kind of a open world. It almost reminds me of, what was the game that came out on Switch? Starlink.
Oh, okay.
That's almost an open world, and there are these space tunnels that'll take you to certain parts of the map faster. There's like waypoints in between and little treasure globes or other pickups.
Okay, so you're basically shooting your way from...
You can shoot your way.
World to world.
But you enter in weird instance battles with mobs or enemies during the gummy ship parts. But for the most part, if you're fast enough, you can evade them and just go straight to the world. There are certain instances where they'll force you to fight like a boss spaceship character, but those go by relatively fast. They're just a little tedious. The other thing that annoys me, and I feel like the game could do with, is if they had had an editor or some type of director for the cutscenes. Ben, you saw some of that from what we were allowed to show, and it's like some of the cutscenes they last almost like a second too long, or they'll linger on a shot that is weird, or like how they decide to go from scene to scene.
It's a lot of that kind of classic JRPG thing where character A will say something to character B, and then they'll like be shocked for just a half second too long.
I was just say that sounds like very PlayStation 2 to me.
Yeah.
Those cutscenes all got made around 2007 or so.
It's completely possible. Like there'll be parts where whichever hero character or a new person you'll meet will have to address every single one in the party, like Sora, Donald, Goofy, and then they'll proceed with their speech. And like that just gets awkward, and I feel like getting it tighter would have made it feel better, because I timed it out, and for one point I sat there for about 15 to 20ish minutes just watching cutscenes.
Yeah.
And it's just flooding you with like this slow dialogue that's like not paced properly. And it just like, it's very frustrating, but you don't want to skip anything because the story is already convoluted as is. And me being a fan, like I barely have a grasp on it, that if I were to skip anything, I feel like I'd lose the thread completely.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're playing that game and skipping the cutscenes, like why play the game at that point? Like either you're invested in this thing and you need to see how it ends or goes or whatever.
And we were initially a little disappointed that there wasn't kind of like an intro movie at the start that explained a bunch of stuff, but you were saying they kind of roll it out.
Yeah, they do a gradual rollout. I was curious how they would handle it, because there's so much that happens in between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3. Like there's maybe 5-ish games, I want to say, where there's actual relevant story beats that happen. And I thought like, oh, maybe they'll handle it in some type of cinematic. They didn't. I thought maybe they'd pull like a Mass Effect and have like a motion comic type deal where they roll through the relevant story beats, but they don't. They gradually roll everything out contextually, which I feel works well. Two characters will come up and they'll mention something, and then they'll explain said something, and it'll make sense for what is going on. Because if they were to just dump everything on you, that'd be way too much stuff of like, who's Aqua? Who's Terra? Wait, what's a Heartless? There's a nobody? Is that a soul?
Terra from Final Fantasy?
Not Terra from Final Fantasy.
God, fucking...
She got Norded. Terra got Norded.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
I hate
She
when
got
I
Nord.
She got Norded.
I hate getting Norded.
What?
Nord.
What?
Norded is when
You get is that we say? Okay, let me explain this.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm pretty sure this is when you turn your name into an anagram of your name and put an X in it somewhere, right? Is that
that's
Fair.
that's
okay?
technically
Great.
true.
Okay, all right, nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like the pacing improves the further you play along in the game, and it's particularly bad in the parts that don't feature like a Disney world, like a bunch of Disney characters. If it's just like the Kingdom Hearts characters or whoever, like the pacing's a little weird. With Hercules in the first world in Olympus, the line reads were very odd, and it almost felt like they were doing like cold reads off of like a script rather than properly reacting. But the further I got through the game, everything started feeling a little tighter, and that specifically with the Pixar properties, it felt like, I don't want to say playing a movie, but like the dialogue and scenes felt more cohesive rather than stilted, way too long of pauses.
I wonder if they did like that early stuff. Maybe they did it a long time ago.
That's why I feel like could have happened.
And some of this other stuff was done more recently.
Yeah.
Some of that Hercules stuff, like the character, like Hercules looked kind of. There were certain visual things that looked like HD remasters almost in a way, where it was like, which kind of makes sense. You know, they had those models and stuff. They made Hercules back. He was in Kingdom Hearts 1, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But some of it just stood out. Like there'd be Hercules standing in front of some people in the background, some like Greeks.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of
you know.
Grecians. No, Greeks. And they all look like modern Disney characters, and then Hercules kind of looks like a plastic mold, sort of.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if he's supposed to stand out because he's like a hero character, but that does change, and like the quality of that looks different. Like the Toy Story world, everything looks better than it drastically looks better than it did in Olympus. And then like
Weird.
That is
these subsequent
strange.
worlds. Yeah. Like you revisit an area that was in Kingdom Hearts 2, and that kind of does look like a PS2 HD remaster.
Yikes.
But the later worlds you encounter like look beautiful. They look
And
great.
some of that Hercules stuff looked really pretty, like and a lot of the like attraction stuff and just the visual, like the game when it looks nice looks really nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hercules, did I see that real ass James Woods is in this?
Oh yeah, they got like
still?
everyone.
They got-
Mark Hamill's back. Haley Joel Osment's back.
Have they kept up with what James
don't-
Woods is up
They
to
have.
these days?
I mean, who knows if Japan like casting
Also,
is-
maybe they recorded that fucking 10 years ago.
also fair.
Yeah, with how the Hercules stuff looks. They
So
could've been
they
re-recorded.
actually have all the real celebrity voice actors.
Not everyone.
Oh, not everything.
Yeah, they
Okay.
do a good job of getting sound alikes. Like Woody's is Tom Hanks' brother, Jim Hanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, he does like a lot of what he does Woody for all the non-mainline stuff. Yeah.
He's done like
that's not bad work if you
No.
happen to be
No.
Tom Hanks' brother.
Yeah, he's done work for like Disney Infinite or Infinity for as Woody.
Okay.
So it's a good sound alike. The Tim Allen sound alike, I thought it was actually him, but it's just,
He's in jail
oh well, yeah.
for cocaine.
Okay, I'm not keeping up to date with Tom
No,
Hanks.
for real though. This is gonna sound. What the fuck is Tim Allen doing that he can't?
The show.
He's still got.
He's on that show.
Yeah, he's still got that sitcom.
The Family Man. No, what's it
Last-
called?
Last Man
The
Standing.
Last Man Standing. It's like the biggest sitcom in the world.
That's not a year-long commitment, though. Like this game's been in the works for years. You telling me that Tim Allen couldn't fit into a schedule to come in? Maybe his fee was too high.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't care anymore.
But
He's done.
Because they'll get big names like Zachary Levi is just Zachary Levi, the character he plays in Tangled, but they don't have Mandy Moore in Tangled. I don't know. It's all over the place, but they get really good sound alikes.
Yeah. Okay. What is the hot new Disney shit that's never been in there before? Like I feel like every time there's Kingdom Hearts, it's like, oh, now Tron is in it. Oh, now
Pixar.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Pixar
Really
Pixar's
been
the
that
big
long
thing.
since a Kingdom Hearts that like
Yeah.
Pixar became big since then?
Well, Toy Story had been a thing prior to Kingdom Hearts coming out.
I'm surprised that there has never been any. Wow.
But there's a crap ton of Pixar shoved into this. Like
Okay.
there's
So
monsters.
I've seen
that's-
pictures of Frozen stuff. in
Frozen,
here, so that's
Monsters,
probably
Toy
the-
Story.
Frozen, I think, is like Disney animation.
Yeah,
but-
Oh,
I was gonna say,
Frozen's
is Frozen still the biggest thing that they've done in the last
Like Disney
fucking 15
animation
years
proper
or something. Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, that was a big ass movie.
I would
Probably has the
assume
longest
that
legs.
Frozen is probably
Yeah.
bigger than most Pixar stuff that has been coming out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I think Toy Story still reigns supreme over like Pixar's kingdom.
But
is there any-
Frozen big.
Frozen big.
Frozen big.
They will not let it go.
So I hear. Any Star Wars in there? I'm guessing that deal happened too recently. To
You find a lightsaber keyblade. That has to happen at some point, right?
There's
like
laser swords.
Yeah, it was like quick reference to just like, oh, by the way.
is there any Tron in there? Has there ever been any Tron?
There has been Tron.
Yeah,
Okay.
Was that in 2? Or?
That was in 2.
Yeah.
But what I do really, really enjoy about the game is the combat and the actual gameplay. It's very reminiscent of, and don't hate me here. But
Go
it
ahead.
Reminds
Go
me,
ahead. Roll this out.
It reminds me of Nier Automata in the mobility and like the speed of the combat and how you can kind of zip in between the different enemies and like the possibilities to kind of build out your character to play to your play style. And also, from what I've played of Final Fantasy 15, it's very similar to that, which I guess because Nomura had a hand in 15.
Sure.
Like you can balance 3 different keyblades at one time, and each keyblade has a different power. Your base keyblade, for instance, after you fill out a combo, allows you to go into a second form, and in that second form, you're a little bit faster. You have a stun attack, and then you can, after you build out more of your combo, you can zip in between all your enemies.
Yeah,
which is cool.
15 had a lot of that warping around between enemy stuff.
Do they say Norded because it's torn backwards? Or not quite, but
That would be Tron.
I guess it's Tron. Are you getting sucked into a computer because it's Tron backwards? That's my follow-up
You've
question.
gotten sucked into many computers in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
They're all about weird physical hacking of getting into the computer.
It's from Xenohort, right?
Xenohort, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the big bad.
Yeah, like getting Xenohorted.
It's like making a Horcrux in Harry Potter, which I guess is also...
Do you go into the Zoolander world and go inside the computer?
I bet you Owen Wilson wanted to be in Kingdom Hearts. He could have been in Kingdom Hearts with cars. Now I think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they still do a lot of non-Kingdom Hearts Square stuff, like Final Fantasy characters or any of that stuff?
I feel like they've kind of leaned away from that.
Okay, because they like the first game or maybe 2 games had a lot of that.
Yeah,
right?
like Cloud, Orin,
Yeah.
Leon, or Squall.
Yeah,
Were big figures.
bunch of 10 characters. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the combat, like there's so many systems that you have to balance, and I feel like they pull them off relatively well. The magic has remained the same of you just cast spells, they're homing or whatever. But they've added, or in addition to the summons that you used to have where you'd kind of like ride Dumbo around the level, they've added the monsters from, I believe it was Dream Drop Distance, like the Nightmare buddies from one of the previous games, and along with other Disney properties. Like you can summon Wreck-It Ralph, which is pretty cool. And then he has a very specific set of moves of building up a tower, and then he screams, "I'm gonna wreck it!" and then throws the blocks.
As he does.
And then he takes your PS4 offline.
Yeah. And then he red rings like everything in your house.
I hate when that happens.
On top of that, there's these moves called attraction moves, and a green reticle will pop up on a random Heartless or a random enemy. And if you hit them, you have the chance to do an attraction move. And like these are giant screen filling moves that are similar to like Disney rides. They kind of look like the Electric Parade. If you watched the first impression video, that's the giant pirate ship. They go on to like mimic other Disney rides.
They're almost like summons in the kind of classic Final Fantasy sense.
Do you just summon Space Mountain?
Honestly, kind of like the one he described was, it was a big pirate ship on the thing rocking back and forth like a Disney ride would.
I guess I just want to know how deep does it get? Like, does Ric Flair pop out?
Not
say,
yet.
Do you want to go to Space Mountain?
Not just yet. I'm crossing my fingers waiting. But I thought that would get super old, just summoning a pirate ship over and over again. But they've doled out as you progress different forms of attraction rides. Like
I want to summon all the small world kids and have them just gang up and beat somebody to shit.
they might just do that because they pulled out my favorite ride. They pulled out the teacups.
Oh shit!
And it's just you, Donald, and Goofy like zipping around the level on a bunch of teacups. And then when you finish the move, like you guys like come together and hit everyone with your teacups. I think one of the coolest ones is they do like a water ride where you're just jumping around on like an inner tube around the level and you're leaving a water trail. And as soon as you finish the move or like the timer runs out, you go through the trail that you had created through the level, hitting every single enemy that has passed through the water.
That's fun.
It's fun. It's super colorful. Like I said, it reminds me of like that Electric Parade type of art style.
Have you been keeping up? Have you been, letting your followers know what's happening, posting selfies with Donald?
Does it have? It has a fake Twitter, right?
It has a
fake
fake
Instagram.
Oh, okay, all right.
And like with weird hashtags like "Hello Darkness," "Where is Aqua?"
Wait, what is their fake Instagram called?
I don't think they have a name. Kingstagram.
Man. Why are you going to
Graham.
make a fake social media service if you don't come up with a stupid fake name for it?
But yeah,
I think Spider-Man did the same thing, right? Like they didn't have a
Twitter.
name for their Twitter.
Chip and Dale build Sora a cell phone, and then Jiminy Cricket is tasked with teaching Sora how to use his cell phone.
Oh, so product placement.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, you have a camera. They use it so you can find hidden Mickeys throughout the level. And
Love a good hidden Mickey.
yeah,
I saw a picture of so it's almost like the Riddler stuff from Batman, like
Yeah.
where it's like if you're
like
standing
having
in a
to
certain
line things
spot,
up in
it's
a
like
certain
here's
perspective. That's cool.
that's a Mickey.
that's a Mickey. And if you find a bunch, you can get like status upgrades, or you'll get like, hey, here's some potions.
I guess the Kotaku article I was reading said that you have to find a certain number of those to see the secret epilogue or whatever.
Oh.
Oh god. Okay. Well, the camera is also used for one of the stores that's manned by Moogle. Gives you store quests of like, hey, take a picture of this, and then I'll give you a recipe for that. And then also similar to Final Fantasy 15, there's cooking and food in the game, and I'm just gonna leave it up in the air. I don't want to say who does the cooking for you, but just think a certain Pixar movie handles all the cooking.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you make a Dole Whip?
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, Mr. Potato Head just gives you French fries and mashed potatoes.
Can you make Mickey Mouse shaped pancakes or waffles?
Not yet. Maybe I haven't accumulated enough ingredients. What I will say, I think they do a terrible job with the person that voices Mickey.
Oh, no.
Mickey sounds god awful.
Huh.
Everyone else,
Is he not just like the current cartoon Mickey voice?
I don't think
They
so.
don't really do a lot with
I was gonna say,
Mickey
like,
these
is
days.
there
I mean, there was
a
the
current cartoon? Mickey?
there was a
House of Mouse.
modern run of Disney cartoons. That's actually really good. I forget the name of it, but yeah, it's like Mickey and Minnie and Donald and all them.
Like all the other Disney characters sound like how you expect them. Donald and Goofy sound great for being Donald and Goofy. But just Mickey specifically, and it's weird that he's like a very pivotal character in the series, but he just doesn't, he sounds off.
He's a Keyblade master, right?
He's a Keyblade master.
Yeah.
I've heard that he's the only Disney character that actually matters in that whole series as a Keyblade master.
Oh, I mean, Donald and
True or
Goofy.
false? True or false?
Well,
Okay.
Donald Goofy, they can't hold a Keyblade.
Okay.
Oh, you mean
they
like
support you in other ways.
he's the only Keyblade guy
He's
in
the only.
Kingdom Hearts?
He's the only guy that actually like
Disney.
matters to the grand arc of things because he's got a that role or whatever role he's got. But the fuck do I know? That's
What about Pete?
Old Pete's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Pete has a very awkward zipper on his uniform that goes like
Yeah, it
from
goes
his
like
crotch all the way to like
under the taint and around the back.
yep, around the taint.
Maybe just needs easy access for some reason. That
you never know.
also, who's Pete?
the cat.
He's the bad guy.
The bad guy from Goofy, the fat Goofy.
He's a cat. Goofy's like maybe a
Yeah,
dog.
Goofy-
but like
Goofy
they
is a
all
dog.
look similar. Actually, he's a funny animal, but that's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
But I'm liking what I've played. I'm about 20 hours in.
Okay. Worth the wait.
I'm gonna say it's worth the wait. I do think would be a bit difficult for someone jumping in to have a grasp of what is going on at all. But some of the cutscenes do poke fun of like, hey, like you've waited a long time, or like, man, this sure is a video game, isn't it? Because there's so many weird little mini games that I thought would be super annoying, but I think they pulled it off.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's here.
It's here.
It happened.
It sounds weird.
It's
Like even for Kingdom Hearts, like there's some aspects of it just sound weird.
Yeah.
We're living in a post Kingdom Hearts 3 world now.
I don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Who knows? I haven't gotten all the way there yet.
The countdown starts now.
Jesus.
Coming in 2032.
Oh my God.
Yep. I was kind of bummed last week that I ended up going to that Anthem event because
Because you played Anthem.
well, it's okay. I don't know. Do you want to talk about Anthem? I was going to talk about Resident Evil, but
Yeah, let's talk about Resident Evil.
Yeah.
we did not talk about that last week.
Yeah, the review embargo lifted the morning of this podcast last week, so we could have talked about it if I had been here, but I went to that event instead. But that thing is fantastic. Has anybody else played it at all?
Yeah, I tried out the demo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't played the proper game?
Not the proper full game.
It is crazy how much that thing feels like a modern game from 1998, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. Like from looking at the demo, it looks like they are devoted to the original
They made
Resident
that game.
Evil blueprint.
Yeah.
But only in the ways that still serve it today.
Yes.
Like it seems really smart. Like the changes they did make seem like the smart ways to modernize it.
Yes. Like the map it has is like the game. Like it didn't occur to me because it works so seamlessly, but I think the map is the whole reason that game works as well as it does.
Yeah.
Because it communicates like an insane amount of information to you. I'm trying to think what all it does. So like anytime you go in a new room, it maps it out. It adds it to the map. If the map is tinted red, that means there's still stuff for you to find in there.
Nice.
And it turns blue when you're done.
Great. Fucking, that's awesome.
Any item that
You're selling me on playing this video
like
game.
any item that you like sweep the camera across, but even if you don't notice it, it adds an icon of that item to the map. So it's like, oh, I missed gunpowder there, or oh, there was a key there that I didn't pick up.
Yeah.
It annotates every like door that you can't get through with the type of key or thing you need to get through it.
Cool.
Like it's kind of awesome. Like that you pick up like, it's still full of weird bespoke nonsense. Like, oh, there's a key that's shaped like a heart and another one that's shaped like a diamond.
Yeah.
You found a ruby that you should shove into an eye socket somewhere. You know what I mean? Like it's a bunch of that bullshit.
But it sounds like it at least tells you that shit.
And
it's not like I found a ruby. I remember there being something somewhere.
So it's actually super satisfying because I mean the police station is really intricately laid out in a way that there's tons of backtracking, but it's like satisfying backtracking, not tedious backtracking because you're unlocking lots of shortcuts. Like basically you pick up like, oh, I just got the diamond key. I'm going to scan all 3 floors of the station and look for the little diamond key icon on a bunch of doors. And it's like, oh, like those are the doors I can go open now. It's very obvious every time you pick up like a story related item, what 3 things you can now go do with it.
Yeah.
To the point that it almost starts feeling like a Metroid game because like
I was gonna say like your description of it almost
very much feels almost like a third-person shooter Metroid in a way.
Weird
because it is this big interconnected environment, but
where you are back traveling at points.
Yes, and you're constantly running into things that that door. I've seen 3 doors with a chain that are a chain binding or whatever,
and then Leon gets the ice beam, and then you can freeze that zombie and stand on its head.
And then you can
there was a really funny moment in the quick look that we did where in the demo of the game, kind of at the very, very beginning of the game, somebody gets kind of chopped in half by a door, like a sliding door, metal door down. And Brad, I don't know, you were like 10 hours in at that point or something around there, and you had finally made it to the other side of the door, and his legs were just stick there on the ground, still there.
Also, that dude's upper half becomes a zombie about 10 hours into the game.
Open it, the other half starts crawling.
Like it was,
I hate when that happens.
I kept waiting because his corpse is just lying there in 2 pieces for like the first however many hours, and I was like, okay, fine, I guess he's not going to turn.
So,
but then eventually he does.
Here's my question that I'm going to demand you go spend 10 hours finding out the answer to.
Okay.
If you put a bullet in the top half of his body at the beginning of the game, what happens?
I don't know.
I'm keen to play it, so I'll figure that out.
Shoot him in the head. Shoot his
I'll just destroy his head.
Yeah.
So the combat is the weirdest thing in the game because so it's got 3 difficulties. It's I think they were described as assist mode, standard, and hardcore. And assist is the only one that has auto aim of any kind.
Wow.
Huh. So even the standard and assist mode, like you also regenerate health. Like it's it's baby mode. Like it is whatever. I don't want to be, Well, I mean, I don't want to denigrate anybody that needs to play on assist mode.
No, because and I think that if you think about the trappings of Resident Evil back then, it was deliberately harsh.
Totally.
And you see elements of that here in this game from what I have seen of it. That it is trying to do that, but maybe meeting in the middle.
Yes, but the auto aim thing in particular is kind of jarring because you don't think about how many games, like it's basically 100% of shooters on controllers have got some real subtle auto biasing on the aim going. Like it's pretty obvious in like a Destiny or something that has a lot of like precision shooting, a lot of headshot type stuff. Like you can feel it happening in games like that. This game has none of that. And
interesting.
And also the other components of that are the zombies tend to sway and like juke around a fucking lot.
Yeah.
And the ammo is very limited.
Right.
Like, so it's all those pieces coming together to initially potentially kind of make you hate playing the game.
And you don't really have like a melee option.
You do, but even that is commodified. So you have a combat knife, but I mean, you saw it even in the demo. Like those things break fast.
You can use them to
lost
kind
your
of
knife
break
too.
out of.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a weird system, and actually, I wish this was a little bit better communicated. So there are normal weapons, which are all guns, like projectile weapons, but then you have a sub-weapon category, which is grenades and a knife. I think that's it. I think it's just flash and regular grenades on the knife. But whichever sub-weapon you have equipped at the moment, if a zombie grabs you, you can use that. You can hit a button. If it's the knife, you like jab them in the neck. If it's a grenade, you stuff it in their mouth and knock them back. And then you can aim and shoot the grenade in their mouth and blow them up, which is kind of nice. But if you have to rely on that knife counter, it does like a third of the durability on that knife just to do it.
Oh, wow.
So, and I didn't know that at first. Like when I first started playing the game, I was just like, I'll just use this counter every time I get grabbed. Also, the range on their grab is fucking ridiculous.
Also, you got to pluck your knife out of them, right?
Yeah, also you have to kill them before you can get the knife back. But I thought I was like, I would just use that counter whenever I needed to. And it turns out like 3 of those and the knife is gone. So like I was at a knife deficit for the first like 3 hours of the game because I had burned too much knife that way. But yeah, like everything is limited. Everything is pretty limited in the game. Like I ended up save scumming more than I should have and like trying to kind of do encounters like as efficiently as possible. So I kind of ended up with a little bit of a surplus of ammo at the end of the game. But if I hadn't done that, I feel like you're kind of always just on the edge of getting really paranoid about how many bullets you have left. Like it is a constant drag.
And that's the point.
It is,
I mean, yeah.
But early on, like when you're trying to adjust to the aim having no assist on it, and the zombies just sort of swaying all over the place, like they're pretty unpredictable. Even the damage model is really weird because sometimes you will get a headshot on a zombie and their head will explode on the first or second shot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can put like 6 or 8 bullets in a zombie's head and it'll still keep coming at you or get back up. Like there's no predictability to how much you can expend your resources and be
it's
okay.
not like different enemy types, like big zombies.
Yeah, the zombies are just zombies. Like you never know. It seems random. There's a weird mechanic on the pistol when you or most of the bullet based weapons. Like there's a submachine gun.
Guns.
Like that. Yes, most of the guns.
Yes.
Well, not like the grenade launcher though.
Okay.
There are some weapons where this doesn't apply, but like any gun that shoots bullets, when you aim it, the reticle is really big. And it takes a little bit of time for it to shrink.
Oh, yeah.
And from what I understand, if you wait until it has tightened, there's a higher chance of a crit.
Okay.
Like there's a higher chance.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But the zombies advance on you pretty fast, so waiting for. And also, I think every shot you take, it expands the reticle back out. So like, there's tons of like decision points in every encounter, even with just a basic zombie.
Yeah.
Of like,
When do you shoot?
Yeah. Do I want to just like waste a knife on this guy and run? Like, because I've got 8 bullets left. Is
Or
it going to
just
take
run if you can. You know?
But again, like I said, they can grab you from farther away than you would think, and all of this stuff combines to, like I said, kind of make you have a love-hate relationship with the way it plays.
I think
there were times, there were
yeah.
plenty of times where I was like infuriated at the game and almost wanted to turn it off because I was like, man, fuck that! Like that guy didn't grab me. Like I missed that, or I shouldn't have, like I shouldn't have missed those 3 headshots, or like wasting ammo or taking damage when you feel like you didn't need to really hurts in that game. And
that's the sort of stuff that actually, I think you're summing up the things that kept me away from that genre.
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah.
Just the Resident Evil and all the stuff that came in the wake of it.
Right.
It was just that I like riding that razor's edge of having just enough ammo to get by and deciding if I'm just going to run away from a fight and all that other stuff. Like that's a really tense thing, and I think that it sounds like they've done it really well in those games. But it was never fun for me. I just never enjoyed that type of tension.
Yeah, well, those games had the added complexity of playing like shit.
Well, yeah,
like
there was that too.
I mean,
that
the camera
certainly
angles
didn't help.
Were rough in some cases, and the aiming.
But the thing I'd say is that like I felt that way about RE4 also, which is the point when people say, "Oh, now they play well."
Yeah.
Like that was still for me. Like I didn't think that game played well enough.
Well, they also gave you more ammo in those games.
Okay,
like it definitely went. And then
Yeah.
by the time 5 came around, it was practically a Gears of War game. Like
Right.
they went in such a shooter-heavy direction that those are kind of different games. But it's weird going back to this and liking it for all the things they stripped out at the time of 4. Like 4 is just a straight-ahead action game, right? Like there's a little bit of backtracking. There's not really any puzzle solving. Like this game's got a lot of puzzles.
Yeah.
Is that
No, yeah.
that's my memory of it, at least.
Yeah, there's
I
like
think
very little.
you do, like you go back to the village and unlock the tower at one point. Like there is a little bit of that stuff, but like this game is kind of 50-50 combat and like managing inventory items and figuring out where to go back to solve a puzzle you couldn't get to before, stuff like that. Like, it's nice to not have a pure combat Resident Evil game again. And a bunch of people came at me like, what about RE7? Like, it is exactly that. Like, I didn't play 7 when it came out, but if 7 is this but in first person, like that, I'm going to play that game soon.
Yeah, that's pretty much
because like this has like kind of reawakened my appreciation for what made those games what they were back then, even though Capcom intentionally got away from that stuff
right
around the time of 4, and people like celebrated that.
I think players got away from it.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
It wasn't just Capcom. It was like, you know, in terms of what players and what they want, I think RE4 was probably also the game that maybe got them moving in that direction, got players moving that direction anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Like just away from the resource restrictions and stuff like that. And I think you could look at a game like a Dark Souls and like games that have come out in the past 5 years, let's say, not just Dark Souls. As being like, yo, this game's hard and resources are limited and it's fucking hard. Yeah. And I think people are there for that type of game now in a way that they weren't when RE4 was coming out.
This feels very much like Dark Souls, like in the way that Dark Souls was popular because people were like, oh, hard inscrutable games are fun. I forgot about that from the Nintendo. This is the same way for like the big interconnected like the game has a good it strikes a good balance of feeling like really spacious and also really oppressive at the same time because like a lot of the spaces are very dark. Like the camera angles can be tight enough that it's kind of hard to aim at stuff. Like it's like scary and unpleasant, despite the fact that it also feels like this giant cavernous kind of space to explore.
But it sounds like that, like with the addition of like, or what they're doing with the map and all that other stuff, it is actually very scrutable.
I don't mean this does not share that aspect of Dark Souls.
I mean, but I think that's the way to kind of like, hey, this is going to be like even more palatable than those games were. Is like, hey, it's fair. Yeah. It's not that Dark Souls is unfair, but you know,
it's very approachable.
They found a balance.
Yeah, it's very approachable. It's very.
You don't turn a corner and have a big boulder fall on you.
Sure, but you probably do turn a corner and have like a dog jump through a window.
Definitely some shit that happens. I don't marathon games. Like I tend to play games for an hour or two max and then turn them off because I frequently just get bored after that long.
Sure.
But I could not stop playing this game. Like I marathoned my way through it like to the point that I was pulling the blackout curtains in the living room. And like
you didn't want your Kingdom Hearts neighbors to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What happens in my living room is my business.
You're playing on PlayStation?
Yeah, I played it on PS4.
I heard the PC port's pretty good.
I saw people saying that it runs like amazingly well and looks fantastic even on like a modest system.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like the PC version is like by far the best.
That's good to hear from Capcom, who has a history of really like not nailing
up and down. I guess the biggest thing I'm disappointed in is I went through the game and I had forgotten what the original game structure was, but I went through the whole game as Leon, thinking that I had like a whole new scenario to play as Claire at the end.
Yeah,
because I knew they were emphasizing like, hey, you just play with both characters. There's more to see.
Right,
but so it unlocks what they call the second run mode when you beat it with one character, where you can play as the other character.
Okay,
in like a kind of a condensed format.
And they did that. I don't think base RE2 had that. I think that director's cut or DualShock version or whatever.
Yeah,
I think is where they.
I had forgotten they put out like 3 versions of that.
Because before it would be you would have to play both A playthroughs before you could play the B playthroughs.
I think that's right. Yeah. So I guess second run here is that B playthrough. The downside is it's kind of mostly the same shit.
Yeah.
But
that was the idea of like why you leave shit behind, right? Wasn't the idea like if you pick up ammo as on your A playthrough, it's not there on your B.
Yeah. So this doesn't work that way. That may have been the case in the original game, but
I could also be thinking of RE3, which I think
I've heard that.
I remember that too. I don't remember what game.
Zapping system or whatever the fuck they called it.
I thought that was in 2 on the original PlayStation.
I swear it was.
I'm pretty sure
I did not play either 2 or 3 all the way through.
The second run on this feels more like a remix. Because like the typewriters and item boxes are moved around and like some weapons are different, different things happen, but it's largely you're exploring the same police station, you're solving the same puzzles, like the fucking valve handle goes in the exact same place.
But it's Claire going back through, but it's not like, hey, Leon's already been through here and now Claire has to do it.
So
right?
that was the
like
thing.
Storyline, is it set after?
That's the thing. At first, I thought they were implying like, oh, this is what the other character was doing while you were playing that first character.
But no,
but it can't be possible because she. Like I said, she literally put the same valve handle in the same thing to turn the steam off.
But you also meet up with the other character.
So you meet, like, I saw that cutscene where they meet at the gate in my Leon.
Thing.
Yeah, exactly. In my Leon playthrough. And then Claire's starts with that, which is like 3 hours into Leon's campaign or whatever. But then, like I said, she immediately then goes into the station and starts solving puzzles
So
that I
this
was
is like a
solving
what if.
as him. Yeah. So
sort
yeah,
of.
it seems more like an alternate.
Okay.
And there are things that differ. Like she meets different characters, and there are different cutscenes. And I just got to a part that's actually completely different. And she can access. There's like 3 rooms that he never finds a key for in his run that gives you a little bit of different story stuff. Like there are different things to see.
Okay.
But enough of it is the same that it really kind of dampened my enthusiasm.
Are you able to play like
playing through it
that
again.
on hardcore?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
if you
so
want
that
to.
might be your like if you're play through the game
Yeah.
on normal and then you want to give it another shot and just check out hardcore.
Yeah, and it
like,
is kind of condensed. Like they do skip you over some of the tedium of the early game, so that would be a shorter thing. But it's also harder because of that. Like there are more
Sure.
zombies and there are more like lickers, the harder enemies immediately on the second run. So that would be pretty rough on hardcore, I think. But I'm going to go ahead and finish the second run at least. Like there's a ton of stuff you can unlock by doing different things in that game. Like you can get an infinite knife, you can get infinite
Right.
pistols and stuff like that.
You get, like, have you unlocked like tofu or hunk at any
No,
point?
I think that is a
That's,
fair
like,
amount
after-
of work
yeah,
to
okay.
do. I think I haven't looked up what the requirements are, but it's got a really fantastic kind of in-game achievement system. It's called Records, but a lot of it's just unlocking like model viewer and concept art shit. But some of it does, like I said, unlock like an infinite ammo pistol and an indestructible knife and stuff like that.
Now you're talking.
And it's a bunch of weird stuff. Like, there's time-based ones, just like to get an S rank, you have to beat it in like 3.5 hours or whatever. But there's one for beating the game without healing. There's one for beating the game without ever opening one of the item boxes, like the inventory.
Oh wow.
There's like a certain number of steps.
Yeah, that's the crazy one. Is there's one for beating the game in less than 14,000 steps,
That's wild.
which like I hadn't even gotten out of the police station on my first run, and I was already at like 20,000 or something. So like, there's some crazy stuff in there if you really want to like learn the game, and
That's fun.
And I kind of want to try getting really good at it and like memorizing where stuff is and trying to get some of that stuff.
So what do you think you want from here? Do you think you want them to do this with Resident Evil 3? Or do you think you want RE8? And do you think that... Okay, do you think they should make a sequel to Resident Evil 7 in that style?
Without having
Or-
it's hard to say without having
Yeah,
played
I
7. I,
guess,
don't
yeah.
know if I would care about those characters or whatever. Like, this game has weirdly gotten me really nostalgic about names like Chris Redfield and Leon S. Kennedy
Yeah.
and Jill Valentine. Because,
Ada Wong.
yeah, like, I kind of would want more of that, I think. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
People were so into that era of Resident
Yeah.
Evil lore
It's-
and like 3 and Code Veronica.
So
and
this is another thing that makes this game feel like a game out of time, like a
Yeah.
1998 game released in 2019, is that it retains that sense of cheese, and I'm not sure how self-aware it is about it. Like that scene in the demo we all laughed at on UPF where the guy's getting his lower half eaten,
Yeah.
and Leon's just like, hang in there. Like, it's full of shit like that.
Yeah.
Like half the dialogue or more in the game is just like that. Just like
Like the
really
main character might as well be making a Jim Halpert face into the camera.
Yeah, like really awkward, and you're not sure if the people who wrote and recorded it are aware of it or not. But they would almost have to be. Like that cutscene where Leon runs into Claire for the first time a couple hours into the game is like this helicopter has just crashed into the building right behind them, and they're talking to each other through a grate, like a chain link fence or whatever, and there are zombies everywhere. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you made it." He's like, "Yeah, I knew we would." So how are you doing? It's just like really like weird, flirty,
Yeah.
like kind of, but not really. Like there's tons of stuff like that in the game, like in a way that either they knew what they were going for and went for it, or they just like
Found their way
somehow
into it.
stumbled
and that's almost
into
better. Yeah.
stumbled into making this really cheesy, awkward, like late '90s PlayStation game.
And like you said, they got so far off the rails with 5 and 6, turning those into like
Yeah.
Gears of War, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But the another issue with that was just the story continued to do the same thing. Like they got more and more about here's Wesker's crazy
yeah.
vision, and like they tried to revisit the lore and make you care about Chris's story and stuff. But it was just such a non-starter.
Yeah,
that like they would have to almost retcon
Totally.
what happened in
Totally.
those games for me to care about them again.
And they would have to like have a little restraint. Like the end of 5 is you're fighting like monster mutated Wesker, and it's basically
Yeah.
just like an anime at that point. Like you're
But like it was such a different thing by then. Like it seems like the real, like the quote unquote real Resident Evil is 1, 2, 3 and Code Veronica.
yeah, sure.
Because
yes.
even with 4, you're playing as Leon,
Yeah.
but it's a complete different side
like
story.
4 was a great game at the time and like a genre defining thing, but like that ship sailed. Like
That was the point when they were like, these aren't zombies.
right, and it just played differently.
To the
and-
point where they got to like it was 6, right? When they were like, zombies are back.
Yes, but also
Zombies are still a threat.
Yeah, but also large parts of 6 were just a bad Gears of War clone at
Yeah.
that point. Point being, like, 4 like practically spawned a generation of shooters. Like they don't need to make more 4, is what I mean. Like
Sure.
you're right. Like.
Yeah.
Like they've proven that they've figured out what the good parts of that original formula are and can transplant that into a new game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know, man. I would take a 3 remake and a new game, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
more than anything, I just came away from this game wishing it had been longer and there was more to it.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
guess I just wonder, like, if they made another new or when they make another new Resident Evil game, will it be first person or
I
will
see.
it be like this?
Yeah.
Will it be like, okay, we've found a way to make the original RE style work in a modern gameplay context?
I really like this third-person format. Like I said, I'm going to play 7, and since I bought that PSVR, I'm probably play it in VR to see how that first-person stuff works. But this works extremely well in third-person, especially with the over-the-shoulder shooting stuff. I would absolutely play like a couple more games in this format. Like they did a really fucking good job with it.
Yeah.
Apparently sold super well. Like.
Yeah.
Has already
Sounds like it. Yeah.
has like already outsold RE7 lifetime sales. I think I read or something.
Wow, what?
Some
Jeez.
comparison to RE7 where it is selling like dramatically better. I think they shipped like 3 million copies already.
That's wild. But I mean, RE2 was a fucking landmark event when it came out. It was a huge game.
That was like one of the top 3 or 5 PlayStation releases in my memory, just in terms of like hype.
Sure.
Like people being fucking nuts about a PlayStation game.
Totally.
Like that one was right up there with like Final Fantasy 7.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope this sends a message to like a lot of the other industry, because yes, RE2 had a lot of hardcore fans that really liked it at the time, but there were a ton of people like me who never even touched an RE before 4, and I'm dying to go back and play this because it's handled with such care. Like this remake seems like, like you said, they modernized the parts that needed modernization. They kept the parts that, felt authentic in there, and that's just really how you got to make like if you're going to remaster a game, this is a pretty good bar.
It is about as perfect a remake of that game as I can imagine.
And
Like,
again,
really
I think
good.
we're back at a place where players are accepting of difficulty in a way that like they, or like difficulty as the default, because it used to, there was a while there where it was like Halo doesn't get hard until you put it on Legendary, and even then
Throw some skulls on.
it's not that hard.
Yeah. And just difficult in different ways, like ammo scarcity and management is just not something that you think about in most games. You know? It's just not. It's not a point of tension in the design, and that's kind of core here. And it's just refreshing. I could not recommend it more. I had a fantastic time with it.
Sometimes I want to go back, and I didn't necessarily finish it back then, but like there's a part of me that wants to go back and look at Alone in the Dark.
Yeah.
Since it kind of started this before Resident Evil did.
Yeah, I've been reading some kind of RE retrospectives over the last couple days, and a couple of them mention like Alone in the Dark was actually kind of the first game that really did this.
Totally,
and then Resident Evil came along and just kind of did the same thing.
Totally. And Alone in the Dark, I played that on the PC, and it was like I didn't finish it because it was just fucking ridiculous in spots, but it was really inventive and cool at the time. And
it's got fixed camera angles and same thing.
It's that game. Like the horror is a very different vibe in those games for sure.
Is it more kind of like Lovecraftian or something? Old timey feeling.
Yeah, old timey feeling. Yeah.
Okay.
It's there's kind of a
Yeah. Whereas Resident Evil is all like shadowy corporations and like futuristic bioterror research and shit.
Biohazard.
Resident Evil is closer to being real by the day.
Yes. Indeed. For sure. Yeah. You guys want to talk about Anthem, or you want to talk about taking a break?
Let's talk about Anthem, man.
Okay. I went to EA and played.
Unless someone desperately needs a break. Okay. All
you guys want to? Yeah. So I played a good day's worth of Anthem last Tuesday, and then that demo came out over the weekend, and I assume more people played Anthem. More people tried to play Anthem.
I tried to play Anthem. I ended up finally being able to play Anthem on the third of 3 platforms I downloaded it for.
Nice. We tried to play it on UPF, and it did not happen, sadly. I don't know how I feel about Anthem.
Yeah. I am receptive to the idea of like maybe the final version of Anthem will be good, if not at launch, then maybe someday.
Yeah.
But also what I saw of what you came back from that event with, and we put up on the site, that's on the site now if you want to see it.
Yeah.
And then the little bit of it I did get to play over the weekend, I am incredibly skeptical of the quality of Anthem's writing and gameplay, like top to bottom. Like I don't think the combat feels good. And I guess like I should say, like, because I did not get to play much of it because it was so broken. I only played the one javelin, the
Like
one mecha
default.
suit that you start with.
Yeah.
I guess at some point over the weekend they said, we've unlocked all 4 for
Oh,
everybody.
really?
So you can just
Yeah.
pick from the get-go because...
I will say I've played 3 of the 4, and that one seems the most boring by far.
That's what I've
that's what-
heard.
that's what people
why
have
they
been
started
saying.
the demo
Yeah.
with that thing. It's basically the soldier class from Mass Effect. Like it
It
starts
just
with
feels like and tell me, like, is the shooting dramatically different on the other ones? Because I feel like the actual like gunplay in this game is
Yeah.
just fucking dull as shit, man.
I mean, it seems very much based on which guns you have equipped, but
Yeah.
I think all the shooting is the same across all javelins.
Okay.
I think it's just the guns. that
It
you're
just didn't.
it's very spammy or very imprecise, like very
Well, yeah,
just sort
but
of
like
spray.
the enemies do have weak points. Like
They
you
do.
do land headshots
Yeah.
and stuff, but there's
Yeah.
just no impact on the weapons.
Yeah.
This seems like really like a symptom of being so directly comparable to Destiny in a
Yeah.
lot of regards, where like that is the gun game.
Yeah,
right
like,
now.
some people complained from that video we put up that I was like kind of viewing everything in that game through a Destiny colored lens, but like I don't know how you don't do that.
Well, it was more like, hey, here's a shorthand way to
Yeah,
describe this
yeah.
stuff to
Yes.
people who have not played Anthem.
But that is
because
probably
a
the-
lot of people have played Destiny.
right,
Like it's
but that like yeah, like I noticed the same thing you're pointing out in terms of the feedback you get from shooting, because
just-
like it is the polar opposite of Destiny in that respect, because
Yeah.
like yes, Destiny does have a lot of auto aim like we were talking about before, but like the heads explode and a fucking geyser shoots out of the neck when you get a headshot
Yep.
in that game. Like it
Yeah.
is so
Whereas in this, like the
blatantly
head
obvious,
lights
yeah.
up on a headshot,
Yeah, like
and you're
it-
like, okay, I guess I'm hitting the target.
yeah, like it took me a while to realize, like, oh, I guess I'm hitting the weak point there. Like, they're the big, I don't know if you saw any of the big mechs that have, like, kind of a fuel canister on their back.
Yeah.
And that is their weak point.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, like, it took me a while to notice that thing was lighting up when I
Yeah.
shot it, because, like, you just don't get a gut level feeling that you're doing the thing they want you to do, because
Yeah,
it's just
and
not.
I just don't think that like I mostly because the thing I hadn't really seen was the open world stuff. That when I finally got it running, so here was my day. That day is I downloaded the PC version of Anthem, installed it, got to the story zone, which is the slowest movement I can think of in recent memory. Like I don't understand how they would think that is okay to put in front of people.
Yeah,
faster or slower than the Gears walk and talk.
slower.
It's weird, because I didn't really.
But you're in control, like trying to get to the fucking cutscene so you can then walk to your suit to get out there. Like it's fucking bizarre, man.
I saw a lot of people complaining about that same thing.
It is wild
Yeah.
that that's something that anyone would look at and go, yeah, this is okay. Like I get that they probably like spend a lot of time rendering those environments and they want, you need to really drink this in, but they don't look that great, and you move so slowly through them. It is bizarre. It is bizarre. So slowly stumble my way to the cutscene, watch the cutscene or skip it, depending on if I have seen it before or not. Go through the cutscene that says like, here's the mission, go find the manifold. Then slowly trudge over to the suit, hit A, and then get dropped in a mission select menu, which I think is incredibly poorly designed.
Yeah, that thing is not. It does not communicate very well.
Like you have to, so it's like you have the, hey, here are your current mission parameters. Like you're set to this mission, this difficulty, hit go. And then when you go to select a new mission, it goes into that map and you hit A on it, and then it just, a reticle moves, but nothing happens.
Yeah.
And I kept hitting A on the free play and nothing happened. I'm like, well, is it just not in here?
Yeah.
You have to back out
you're-
with that selected, and then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, here are your new
You're
current
setting
parameters.
your mission in the map and then have to back out to the mission screen again to launch it.
It's just a flow thing of just like, again, like
Yeah.
I don't understand how you get to this point. I don't understand how you get, unless like, was the Mass Effect multiplayer that way and they just kept it and reskinned it for
think
this
so.
or something?
Yeah,
Like I don't understand how that's something that gets designed that way. Anyway,
I'm not defending it at all, but at the event, once there were more icons on the map, it at least made a little more sense. Like once it got to the point where like I had because there are multiple tiers of missions. There's story missions. There's what seem like character-based side missions, and then there are also like contracts, which are I think repeatable generic missions. Like there's tiers of missions, and once you have a bunch of those on that map screen, it at least makes a little more sense of like, okay, I'm going to pick the mission or the stronghold, which is like a strike, or the free roam icon. Like it makes a little more sense once it's very populated.
But yes, like I feel like I want to select that icon and then hit
just have it
A, and
launch.
then it goes back down to say, hey, you picked this thing, let's go.
Right.
and it doesn't.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
like
just
you
it's
hit
just
it and it like kind of does nothing.
It's it's wild.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out.
And so the bug they're having is then I finally figured out how to launch the mission, and then the loading bar gets to about 95% and dies.
Yep.
And it just stays there forever. So that was the PC version. So I sat there for a while, said, okay, uninstalled that, downloaded the Xbox version. Exact same process, except I skipped the cutscene this time, which it doesn't skip the whole cutscene. It just skips a line of dialogue. So you have to mash the B button over and over again and watch the guy's face like randomly flip between emotes as for each line. And exact same thing there. Downloaded the PlayStation version, and it finally let me in, and I was able to walk around the free roam because since like we'd seen the mission stuff, I hadn't seen the free roam stuff. I wanted to take a look at that. Got in there, flew around for a while, found some enemies to shoot, and it just feels bad. I just I feel like even the flight. We played it at E3. I came away from it going like, this is a really cool slice of this game.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's all fleshed out and all cool. And now that I feel like we're seeing more of it, I'm like, oh, I am way less sold on this now because it doesn't seem like the flight doesn't seem as engaging.
Yeah.
The limits on how long you can fly.
That's the big problem.
I don't know that I necessarily want to always be looking for water.
Yes.
And always be looking for waterfalls and all that other stuff. That's a neat idea. If you had hey, this is the hot planet and you need to do this here.
Yeah.
But by and large, I don't know.
I like the flight. I like the level of maneuverability you have. But
it feels nice, but it doesn't.
Limiter, that overheat mechanic just seems so aggressive.
It's a little too much.
It discourages you from doing the one really unique thing that game has going for it.
Yeah.
People that footage that I put up, people were complaining because I was playing the Spellcaster class, which has a bunch of AoE, aimable AoE stuff.
Right.
And people were like, oh, when you're playing the Storm, you're supposed to be hovering all the time and raining your spells down from above. But I was how am I what is encouraging me to go up in the sky and stay there, knowing that meter is going to fill in 45 seconds and then I'm just going to fall out of the sky? Yeah. And I went and did it after I saw those comments, and sure enough, I fought 3 enemies from the air, and by the end of this encounter, my overheat kicked in and I fell. It doesn't feel like you have the freedom to hang out up there.
Right. Well, I think the idea is that you would launch up there, cast your shit, and then on cooldown you would land.
Go into a dive and cool, or I guess there is a loop to that probably that you can kind of min-max it and manage it, but it just right out of the gate though, knowing how short that timer is, it doesn't motivate you to try it.
And that default what is it, the Ranger? Is that what
I think that's right.
The default suit that they give you first. It's got it puts you in with an assault rifle and some other stuff, and so I fucked around a little bit, and just like I said, none of the weapons felt like they had any impact, so the combat felt really flat. Also, you have your abilities, and then I guess the melee is technically an ability because it's got a cooldown on it, and the melee is fairly powerful, but I don't know. The guns don't feel good, so I feel like when an enemy closes the gap on you, the guns feel even less effective. Yeah. So it was this feeling of I should punch my way out of this, and you can't.
Yeah,
because the melee has a cooldown.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I didn't have a good time with it at all. It just didn't feel good.
I think the suits seem sort of tailored to different playstyles, like the Interceptor.
I hear the Interceptor does not have a melee
you can
cooldown,
just mash on the melee and do combos
so
crazy sword shit.
Maybe that's a sign that's the class I should be playing or something.
Yeah, and I think that one has a triple jump. They do introduce a fair amount of variety in each class has a different dash. Each class has a different jump mechanic. From what I can tell, there is a lot of variability in just the basic moves of each suit. So that's kind of nice.
I don't know, but if the guns are the same across the board, that was not engaging shooting. That wasn't something that I found myself going I could see myself doing this for 200 hours. However much content they lay out over the first year of that game's existence or whatever. I felt relatively done with the action end of it. In the half hour I spent finally getting it working.
And then, the gear interface, the whole upgrade system seems pretty nicely laid out and straightforward.
Except that you can't. You have to go back to change weapons.
Well, yeah.
That's a terrible idea.
That is kind of rotten.
So, I get the idea of hey, they should do something where, hey, you can't use a new item until you identify it. If they want to prevent you from just constantly getting new gear out in the field. But I feel like you should be able to swap stuff on the fly. If you're oh, this mission is a long range mission and it didn't effectively convey that, and now I'm stuck with this weapons that are ineffective for this
but actually
encounter.
At that event, I had a sniper rifle and a light machine gun, I think, and I happened to run out of machine gun ammo and was stuck with just a sniper rifle for like 5 minutes
at an encounter range that is not like a sniper mission.
Until I killed enough enemies to make them drop some ammo and then I could switch back. So yeah, like that's kind of a bummer. Like there are good things about the game. Like there are things that
there are promising things around the edges.
And I want to give it a shot from the beginning with a character that I care about that you can stick with and like see how the story develops over time. Like I want to give it a good earnest try.
It seems to me like the biggest bummer might be the lack of that BioWare charm.
Yeah.
Like it's a beta, so they're obviously not going to make it very story focused and stuff like that. But just hearing that, because I think about, BioWare, I think about Mass Effect and all the side characters. I think about the characters in Dragon Age. It's very much, I could do without like romance options and stuff like that. But just the fact that, I think Mass Effect 2 is a hell of a game. Yeah. But the reason it really cemented itself as just the huge supporting cast of characters.
I think the most impressive thing about BioWare's catalog is that they make games where talking to people is the best thing you do.
Yeah.
And you want to do it for like dozens of hours.
The loyalty missions in Mass Effect 2 are better than the main quest lines of a lot of games.
And a lot of that is just like standing there talking to like Thane, telling you his life story.
Yeah, or like talking Garrus down from assassinating a guy.
It's like I think the one like dialogue tree conversation I had in my time with it was when I came back to the base or whatever, there was a discussion with like the mechanic that fixes your shit, and you get to like, it's like basically like, how snarky do you want to be all the way or just some? And it just felt
snarky good or snarky chaotic.
Yeah, it just felt meaningless.
Yeah, all those conversations just feel kind of flat and inconsequential, and your choices don't seem to matter much.
So like I'm torn on that because yes, I think if you had like that BioWare level of character depth and all that other stuff, that would be a huge help to the game. But also, I guess I don't know that I ever expected this game to have it.
Yeah,
because I feel like they
without explicitly saying
because Mass Effect Andromeda existed.
Yeah. I mean, that game at least had a quantity of writing. It's just that most of it was not great. But,
and so I guess like I don't look to BioWare for like great writing anymore. Yeah. I feel like that's something that they have been, if not directly and deliberately moving away from, then it's been something they've been getting worse at for a good long time.
Yeah, I mean, the number one reason I went to that event was to see if that stuff was in there. Like, I had to know if, like, okay, is there a lot of the stuff about Mass Effect that I like waiting in the wings that they just haven't shown yet, or what's going on behind the scenes here? And it doesn't seem like a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know,
and I don't think that's too damning because again, like I don't know that I expected that out of this game, and whatever. I'm someone who played a lot of Destiny, and the fucking Destiny characters and story are the fucking worst part about it.
Yeah. The storytelling in the original Destiny was a huge whiff, but like the atmosphere of Destiny is what I liked about it. Like the mystery.
And that's the shame because if they were good at cashing in on that atmosphere, you would have some amazing characters and writing and all this other stuff.
I don't think like Bungie has not found their conduit to funnel all the cool mystery of that world to you.
Yeah, no.
In narrative.
I mean, they built that Forsaken stuff around the death of that Cade character, and like honestly, who cares?
Like they haven't figured that stuff out either. But Anthem doesn't really seem to have it to begin with, from what I've seen. Like the world, and like the motivation for what you're doing just seems so generically video gamey. It's just ancient alien technology. Like, go get it before the bad guys do.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of like that cutscene where the guy splits in 3 and like, that felt a little BioWare-ish to me.
Yeah.
So maybe there is some more of that stuff later on, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. And I think I'm like you in that, like, when that game comes out, I will definitely play it because I have to know.
Yeah, same.
Because they're out there certainly making a lot of apologies and excuses and all this other stuff because this last weekend was supposed to be the weekend for people who pre-ordered the game. And their servers shit the bed, which, who cares? It's, on one level, who cares? Because it's a beta and a demo, and obviously they got to stress test this stuff. It's not necessarily representative of launch day server quality, and ideally this helps them fix it. On the other hand, this was something that they told people to pre-order to play, and now they're like, we're going to give you an extra sticker. Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Because this is a client-side fix to do to fix this infinite loading bug, so we're not going to fix it. And it'll be up for more people next weekend, and we'll see if that fares any better. But But then they're also like, hey, this build is like 6 weeks old and blah, 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 which of course it is.
You know what the solution is?
Wait and see.
Stop pre-ordering games.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. The solution is to like not, like I feel some obligation to play Anthem at launch. I want to know.
Yeah.
But I feel like the general advice I would give people is do not buy Anthem at launch. Wait and see how it turns out, because there's very few indications that it's going to be like some smooth launch. You have to take them at their word and go like, oh, this is stuff we've already fixed in the build we're working with, and it's getting there. It's getting there. This is an old build you're playing.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to believe that and believe that they made the right changes.
And it's
but
tough,
also
right?
my issues with the game go deeper than it doesn't load. It's like, oh, this writing seems bad, and this movement is like, hey, maybe they crank up the movement speed.
It's tough because people are going to want to start with their friends and play through with their friends and keep even level.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a bummer that it's kind of still up in the air.
Yeah.
Like you want a beta to be, you want to be able to make up your mind after you play a beta, whether you like a game or not. It shouldn't be this ambiguous, like, well, I liked 2/3 of this thing and they're saying this other thing is going to come through.
The thing I'd say though is if I were in a position where I needed to make up my mind based on that beta, I did.
Huh.
And no, thank you.
Like if it wasn't your job,
right?
to cover
if this was something where they were like, hey, do you want to pay? Well, I guess the catch is that maybe you already paid these $60 to play it, which is even worse. But like, if this is the thing that they put up next weekend for people who have not pre-ordered, even if it's like functional and working, if you're asking me, is that something I would pay for? Like, no, I don't think I would. And so it becomes then dependent on the final game and people to play through that and say like, actually the end game's incredible, or actually this is better, or hey, by the time you get to hour this, then this is better, or they fixed this. And
at a minimum, it would be wise to give it a few days after launch, A, to let server stabilize, and B, to find out what the full extent of the game is.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the end game stuff is going to look like exactly.
Yeah, and maybe this will be a game that, launches rough and gets cleaned up in 6 months and is incredible.
Yeah.
Like Destiny.
Sure. Yeah. But also I would say I enjoyed the Destiny campaign on launch day.
Yeah.
Like for all of its faults around, hey, it didn't really have much of an end game, and the progression was maybe a little whack in some spots. Like playing through that art, those assets, and shooting my way through it felt good and was fun.
Yeah, like people mock me incessantly for saying this, but the shooting is fucking amazing in those games.
It feels great.
Like playing those games in itself is very rewarding.
And I would say the same thing about base Destiny 2.
Yeah.
They overcorrected in some ways, but like launch day Destiny 2, playing through that story content was fun.
Yeah.
It had a ton of issues that are larger than that, 20 hours or whatever it takes. So it's the sort of thing where like if like the recommendation for Destiny was like, hey, if you're coming to this expecting it to be hundreds of hours, the jury's still out on that. But people pay $60 for 20-hour games all the time.
Yep.
And it's a real good one of those.
Yeah.
Assuredly, Anthem will get plenty of just knowing how EA operates, knowing how video games these days operate. Like I feel like it's safe to assume that eventually Anthem will have, tons and tons of stuff to do. But yeah, like you said, initially dropping $60 for a video game, this seems like maybe you want to wait and just see how that kind of initial reaction is.
I think that's where I'm at with it. And I'm trying to think back, like, EA's support for games. I mean, they kind of cut and run on Andromeda.
Yeah.
It seemed like that there would be more DLC for that game if it had taken
they,
off.
They flat out
said,
canceled,
like, hey, we're done.
Yeah, they flat out canceled DLC that was very obviously going to happen.
But I mean,
that's the
still
sort of
even
thing
supporting Battlefront.
They did fix it up.
But like Battlefront, I think probably did a little better than that did.
Yeah,
right? It must have for them to continue.
But
also,
like
the level of support is different. It's like, hey, here's a new character, here's a new this and that. But like they kind of cut and run on that DLC, and at some point that's enough to maybe shake you. Like, oh, like this is an online game where the player is being asked to make this commitment of like, hey, invest in this character, care about your character, and we will have content for that character to do for X amount of time. Like that's the ideal, right? But at some point, I think the question people have to ask themselves is, do they trust EA to make good on that? If, like, let's say the game doesn't sell, does EA cut out of this at a Sims Online level of, oh, fuck?
Right.
I mean, I don't think they can. What else? Other than Dragon Age, they've really like at the end of their rope on that one.
But like, if no one's playing it, then no one's playing it.
Yeah,
so
true.
you're pissing off a small number of people that will probably never get tricked again by an EA game. But
you say that.
I say that. But,
And then I feel like the other rub for Anthem is the fact that the Division 2 comes out 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
So like people are looking at two kind of similar loot-based shooters.
I have not seen the betas or alphas that have been running for that, but like hearing from people that have seen it, it sounds really fucking good.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
And that being their second try. Obviously the Division had plenty of problems for the first year.
Sure, yeah.
But they've had that whole cycle of that first game to kind of figure it out, and hopefully, of course, Destiny 2 launched with a whole different set of problems from the first Destiny, so like that's no guarantee that Division
But I guess
2 will be better.
I also feel like I would say the same thing about the Division at launch is that like it had no end game.
Yeah.
Like the same song and dance. Like,
balancing issues and
but
stuff.
the actual core play through the Division, play through these missions, that stuff was fun.
Yeah,
there was
something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I don't get that out of playing Anthem.
Yeah.
Yet. And maybe that's a find the right class thing, or maybe they've got more work to do on the gameplay end that will be there in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
3 weeks. God.
Maybe. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I want to play the final game and see for sure.
I would very much like that game to be good to great.
Yeah.
Because like there's some cool art in it, and I feel like I'm in for another game like that if it's good enough.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. It feels like nothing that they've been showing in this last batch of showing the game off looks.
There's no wow factor.
Yeah. Games need a wow factor.
No, but really, there's like no one thing
yeah,
that people can point to and be like, look at this
like,
shit.
you can't hang your hat on that. Like the flight is the closest thing.
I would almost say the flight, but even the flight is just held
But yeah,
back
it's
enough.
like flight asterisk,
Yeah.
without these certain qualifiers.
The flight is pretty cool.
It seems cool.
It handles
does seem
well.
really
Like
cool.
it handles well enough that you can fly around some pretty tight caves and caverns with it, and that I feel like that's a compliment.
It's just the overheat
But
thing
the fact
seems like a bummer.
yeah. Like I wish they would just relax that stuff. But
if your flying's good, let them fly.
yeah. Also, I guess that the early launch for that game is like 2 weeks and change
2 weeks.
away.
Yeah.
I wanna
There's
say the
90
15th.
different
It's like
ways
It's like Battlefield, where there's like 7 different release dates depending on.
But I want to say
what
I
you're
think
subscribed
I
to.
think the 15th is the earliest you can play the final game, so that's not that far off. So we will see shortly. All right, now that we've talked about Anthem, let's take that break. We'll come right back and talk about more. Okay, it says here after we talk about video games, we then discuss the news of the week. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If the news has not come up naturally in conversation, this is
Okay.
a place to force it in.
Great. Well, I happen to have here a list of the headlines
Terrific.
from the last week.
For video games, right?
Yes,
Okay.
thank
All right.
definitely.
Okay.
No real news in here. Remember how like every E3 and Nintendo Direct that comes around, we say, I wonder what's going on with Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
I wonder why they haven't shown any of that yet. They announced that a while ago. You'd think they would have some kind of update on how that's going, perhaps some footage. Turns out they are not happy with how the game has been going, and they are effectively scrapping what they have done and starting over.
Yeah. Namco was doing this before.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Bandai Namco, I believe, was handling most of the development. Nintendo has basically come out and said exactly what I just said. Like, they seem pretty candid about like, hey, this was not up to our standard of quality. We are effectively starting over development, and as such, it's going to be quite a while before we can bring you another update on the state of this game, since we're basically beginning it again right now.
Yeah.
They're bringing in Retro Studios, who obviously made the first Metroid Prime.
Yes.
Or all of them,
Yeah.
but
They made them Metroid Primes.
they were the architects of what Metroid Prime is.
All right. I just had this gangbusters idea. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Hit me.
Yeah.
Metroid Primal.
Whoa.
Samus.
Okay.
Dinosaurs.
Huh.
Does she have like some sort of fashioned armor out of
Yes.
wood and stone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. What is she shooting?
Ice spears.
Wasn't
Okay.
the big thing at the end of Super Metroid kind of a dinosaur?
Yeah, but these are just fucking
dinosaur
cartoon-ass.
Earth dinos.
Yeah.
All right.
Is like Ridley a pterodactyl?
This is like Ridley's ancestor,
But is it Samus's ancestor too?
No, it's just Samus.
Can she eat like a gigantic leg of dinosaur meat to get health back?
Yes.
Okay. And then if she eats like the power up meat, then like steam shoots out of her ears.
Steam shoots out of her ears, and
fire.
she turns red, and then just becomes invincible and collects a lot of smiley faces.
I am very on board with this new vision.
So this means
Metroid.
what? Like probably 3 years,
Probably,
something like that.
unless this thing really just comes together in an amazing way. The language he uses doesn't make it sound like Retro is coming in to take over development. I think it's a lot of like in collaboration with.
Yeah. In collaboration with who?
I guess the existing team.
Oh.
Because they say the existing producer of the game is going to continue running the project.
Well, that would be the Nintendo side producer,
right.
not necessarily the Namco side, right? So it's like whoever is handling on the Nintendo end is probably still in place.
Yeah.
So, it could be
And
stuff
Retro
like,
is a Nintendo studio.
Yeah.
they had ideas for the game that they want to keep. Maybe like plot stuff.
It's
maybe
like,
just
okay,
upgrade
same
ideas.
design
Like,
doc, some changes. Now you make it.
Yeah.
I wish I had a transcript.
I wonder. I don't know.
They delivered this news in a video, so I'm having to like scroll through and read subtitles. I didn't find a full transcript of.
I thought I saw something. This could be incorrect, Brad, but so correct me if I'm wrong. That there were like multiple studios working on it at different locations, and
I think that was
some
right.
of them were trucking along or ahead of schedule, and some of them just were completely behind and stuff, and so they wanted to kind of corral it all into one more controllable zone.
But it doesn't necessarily sound like that work is going to be still being used. Like they're tossing it. So maybe they got to a point where they were like, hey, even if everyone was kind of firing on all cylinders, maybe this will still be a bad game.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to scrap something more fundamental about it.
Honestly, good on Nintendo for this level of transparency.
They always say that they are willing to do this, and you don't always hear about it when they do.
After this long and enough people asking that many questions, like I think they had to come out and say something.
They had to come out and say it's Mario time.
It's always Mario time somewhere. We have decided to have the producer Kensuke Tanabe, wait for subtitles, work in trust and collaboration with the studio that developed the original Metroid Prime series, Retro Studios.
Yeah. So there was much rejoicing around that, and then I think some people kind of off to the side said, wait a minute, how many of the people that made those Metroid Crime games?
Metroid Crime?
Okay, I have another idea here.
Oh, man.
Metroid is a cop,
Okay.
and Samus is a criminal,
Okay.
and you play as the Metroid.
It's just Narc reskinned.
Yep.
Now I'm envisioning a Metroid in a beat cop uniform. I need to see that.
Beat Cop Metroid.
Yep. Make it happen, somebody.
How many of the people who worked on those original games are still at the studio? There's some people trying to
It's just all the people from Metroid Prime 3.
Cool.
Yeah, I know you hear some names from way back then that have left since then, and when did Metroid Prime 1 came out, like 2002 or something?
Sure.
That
sounds about right.
It's like pushing 20 years ago.
The GameCube game.
Well, it's getting up there. Definitely assume there's been some turnover. On the other hand, like as much shit as we give Donkey Kong, like it sounds like
I'm always giving Donkey Kong shit. That asshole. Fuck him.
Hey,
what?
He's got a whole island to look after.
Yeah, well, he should look after it better.
I still haven't played Tropical Freeze because I refuse to pay full price for an old Wii U game, but people love that game. Like I see no end of like praise, like really strong praise for specifically that last one they put out. So
we should add funky mode to Metroid.
Yeah. Okay.
Point being, like it seems like there's still some significant chops at Retro. Whether or not a lot of the veterans of the Prime games are still there or not, Nintendo seems to trust them.
So you got to wonder then if this was going to be the next big Switch marquee.
Yeah,
even before
like think about how long we've been talking about how Nintendo's schedule feels like it's got some holes in it,
right?
And now here's why, but also saying here's why doesn't put the game out tomorrow.
This is now off the schedule.
Man.
There's Animal Crossing,
yeah,
and
Machina.
Yeah, that weird mech game.
that mech thing.
Luigi's Mansion 3. Actually, I guess there are some
Yes,
games.
yeah, there are,
but
there
there's
are
no
some
like
games.
big crown jewel Nintendo game. Animal
I'd say
Crossing.
Animal Crossing is up there.
That was never one for me, so I could just kind of brush it off. But
But also, like Animal Crossing is one for me, but I still don't necessarily perceive it to be in the top tier
Yeah.
of Nintendo.
It's not-
releases.
console pushing.
It's not a Zelda or Mario or Metroid.
Yeah.
Of course, Metroid doesn't sell like those other ones, but it still, to me, is kind of
Yeah.
one of those classic franchises.
I don't think I would put it up there, but that's more just I didn't like Prime, so whatever.
Arms too.
Yeah.
Legs.
Oof.
So do you think this opens up? I think the other thing is, does this open things up for a kind of quick sequel to Mario or Zelda? Like
Mario, I could see because you kind of just make more worlds.
But like
Like the way they
Zelda
did with-
is like the physics are theoretically there.
Yeah.
You just are. You're making a 4-player version of that and co-op. 4 swords, co-op shrines.
Imagine Karen's got her Switch on the roof
Yeah,
and then overwalks.
we're gonna do all this co-op puzzle solving.
That lady really did look like a Karen. Now that you mention it, I would like to see more work done to a new Zelda. Like,
Oh yeah.
I love
yes,
Breath
me
of the
too.
Wild,
but also,
I hope they.
but also, I think that there's money to be made if
Probably.
you had a faster turnaround on
Yeah.
it. Hey, let's take this tech. The thing we did was add multiplayer
Yeah.
and do a
I mean,
4-player.
They made those DLCs and people seem to like
Yeah.
those. So it's
Yeah.
like they can do stuff with the existing engine.
Yeah.
If I had my choice, I would say, sure, make a Mario Odyssey 2. Like, make a whole
Yeah,
new game
I
of.
would love that.
Because it worked so well for Galaxy 2. You know, it's like you can just make a bunch of new levels with new ideas that you had.
All right, hear me out here. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate 2.
Whoa.
Huh?
Whoa.
There's only 8 characters.
Yeah, everyone is here. Get Sakurai back in the hole.
Unlock his dungeon and
Right.
trot him out.
Oh, please no.
Well, since we're talking.
time.
I just want to make another Kirby.
It's Mario time.
How about another Kirby
It's Mario time.
on Switch?
Oh, they do have that Yoshi platformer coming up.
No, the
Yeah.
Switch. Yeah, whenever the Switch is about to, whenever the next Nintendo console is about to come out, they'll put out a Kirby for Switch as is tradition.
Yeah. It sounds like they've been selling quite well, though.
Yeah,
sounds like Nintendo was doing okay.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about this NPD stuff since we're talking about Smash and so forth. NPD put out a kind of year-end dump of sales data, top 20 games of the year, a bunch of revenue sliced up different ways for the industry. Do they do this every year, or is this new?
I don't know.
I don't remember ever seeing this.
I don't
before.
remember last month. Ask me anything about last year.
I mean, NPD has just been such a black box for so long if you don't
Yeah.
pay for the subscription. So
I think they put out this kind of top level stuff.
I
here
guess
and there,
I guess so.
you know?
But maybe it just made more headlines this year.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a list here of the top 20 selling games of 2018.
Ooh, hit me.
And also, I will say, apparently 2018 was a banner year for the industry. Like, revenue was up in every category you can think of. Game sales, hardware sales. Every console had sales growth, even the Xbox. Like, they all sold better than they did in 2017.
Great job, video games.
Very healthy business from the looks of things. All right. So this is the top 20 best-selling games of last year, although a handful of these games do not include any of their digital sales. And then a smaller handful also don't include any PC digital sales. So this is not exactly apples and apples.
It's just according to NPD, the numbers that they've got.
The numbers they've got.
Here are the highest ones.
All right, I'll just read from number 1, and I'll mention which ones have that caveat. Red Dead Redemption 2 is number 1. Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
No numbers with this.
No,
of course not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Black Ops 4 is number 2. NBA 2K19.
Wow.
Madden NFL 19.
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate at number 5. That's one that is physical only.
Wow.
That does not include digital at all.
Huh.
We'll get back to that one. Spider-Man came in at number 6. Far Cry 5 at number 7.
Please, he swings in at number 6.
Yep, there you go. God of War throws an axe in at number 8. Monster Hunter World stomps in at number 9.
Oh, I hate this.
Thank you.
Yeah. And number 9, Monster Hunter. That's not bad.
These worldwide
Capcom's
numbers or
highest selling video game of all time, right?
I don't think it says what region. NPD is U.S. only,
I
right?
feel like they're North America.
Maybe so. So Monster Hunter number 9, Assassin's Creed Odyssey at number 10, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 11,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 at number 12. That's physical only.
Deluxe Mario, the Switch Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I guess it must be. It doesn't say. This list just says Mario Kart 8.
I wonder if they
It
combine
has to
it.
be. Maybe so. I don't know.
It would, yeah, but you're right though. It would have.
FIFA 19 at number 13. That's excluding PC Digital. My browser tab just crashed.
Cool. Well, I guess if FIFA is lower than Madden, then these have to be North America numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Because I feel like I've been led to believe, maybe I'm wrong, but that FIFA is far and away EA's best-selling game worldwide.
Yeah, I think I've heard that as well.
I guess they finally took the loot boxes out of FIFA in Belgium.
Wherever that.
They
those restrictions are being put in place.
For a while, they were like, "Nah, we're going to leave it in. Buy some packs, please." Like, okay, no, we took them out. You're right. Oh God,
I thought the packs were like the whole revenue model in that.
It is.
Yeah,
It totally is.
Yikes. Battlefield 5 at number 14, but that's excluding PC Digital, which I would assume is maybe not a huge, but a significant.
Yeah, that'd be a large percentage
portion.
of. Yeah.
I imagine there's still a ton of people that play Battlefield on PC.
Yes.
Mario Odyssey at number 15, physical only. Call of Duty World War II at 16. No PC Digital there. Dragon Ball Fighter is at number 17. Zelda Breath of the Wild at 18. Super Mario Party at 19, and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu at 20. Those three.
Hell yeah.
Those three also are physical only. So they don't seem to be tracking any Switch digital sales
Nintendo
yet.
probably just does not give them the numbers.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge asterisk next to all of these games with the real number one is Fortnite.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Definitely the case.
Especially if we're talking North American numbers. Because in some worldwide, well, I guess I was gonna say that's worldwide numbers. You'd probably put a PUBG in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably so. So Kotaku took a little bit of a closer look at some of the Nintendo numbers and determined that the Switch is selling gangbusters. This was the biggest December. The Switch sales in December were the biggest hardware sales for a console this generation.
Yeah.
So.
And their November was huge because it's like the biggest Black Friday ever as well.
Yeah, so Switch is like flying off the shelf.
Didn't they actually meet the number that everyone,
like
us
analysts
included, were like?
Analysts were like, oh, they're going to miss their targets. Not looking good. But I don't know about that. Well, I guess they have until end of March, right? Wouldn't that be?
Oh yeah. Well,
end of fiscal before they say for sure. But they may have already hit the number. I don't know. This says that the last time Nintendo had this big a December was 2010 with the DS.
Wow.
So the Switch did incredibly well in December. They also did some fuzzy math on the Smash sales.
Oh, yeah.
So they point out that Smash was on shelves for less than 30 days before the end of the year, and that ranking did not take digital into account, and it was still number 5 on that list. And they determined, let's see. So NPD didn't put out a number for Smash Ultimate, but they said that Ultimate exceeded the launch month sales of Super Smash Bros. Brawl by over 70%. And since we know that game sold 2.7 million in its first month, they are saying fuzzily about 4.5 million units for Smash Ultimate.
That's physical and digital?
No, physical only.
That's physical only.
Physical almost, yeah. So 4.5 million roughly just physical sales in less than a month.
Wow.
So that is a huge ass release.
Yeah.
In case you thought that Smash was on the wane.
I haven't played it in a while. I never unlocked everybody.
I checked back in. Check back in.
I hear
Still Smash.
I hear you need to unlock Piranha Plant soon.
Oh yeah.
Before you lose the chance.
Oh yeah, I already did that after I bought it.
My understanding.
They email you a code that you have to punch in.
Big Smash tournament happening in Oakland, like the biggest one of the year next weekend. It's like the
Is this like the
old
first
players
big,
coming out.
first big Ultimate tournament?
Depending on who you ask, there's been like
Yeah.
some other ones that have had
Yo, man,
notable players.
I was in my garage,
but like
and we had the biggest Ultimate.
This is the one where like retired players are coming out, just like like retired Melee players, like I'm coming out to play Ultimate and just like hang out and
Yeah.
you know,
Is it just
see all my
Ultimate?
friends? No, it's everything,
Okay.
but that's the marquee for sure.
Are they still doing like the weird hacked, like user modded versions of Melee and stuff?
A little bit,
okay.
yeah.
Or I guess the question is like is Ultimate has Ultimate been well received enough that it is the kind of the marquee
Yeah,
game in the scene?
totally.
Now?
I think
Okay.
it's the only one we're going to see at Evo.
Okay.
That's for I think for sure.
okay.
Because wasn't the Wii U? I got the sense that the Wii U one was like
It like
okay, but not
it
like
dropped off significantly
Okay.
towards the end of its life
Yeah.
cycle.
okay.
People were ready for Ultimate. But yeah, this seems to be pretty well received so far.
Cool. So another week, another big-ish game no longer available on Steam. This week it's Metro Exodus, which is also going to the Epic Games Store exclusively.
It's the most I've heard anyone talk about Metro Exodus
Yeah.
since it was announced, and I've played it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm that game seems interesting.
No, I'm not saying it looks bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like
Yeah, I
in
guess you're
some
right.
weird way, this has all the shit that is whipped up around this has probably helped Epic's store.
Yeah. And Metro. For sure. Like Metro, well, we'll get into this, but Metro is now the top-selling game on Steam, which is a weird thing to say. But yeah, absolutely. This story yesterday when it broke was definitely like my reminder of like, oh yeah, right, Metro Exodus is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this is a weird one because the Division was a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And they had not been taking pre-orders on Steam already,
I
or
don't
they had?
believe so.
Okay. So in this case, Metro had already been up for pre-order on Steam, and I would have assumed in this situation that the publisher would have just refunded all those pre-orders and asked people to go pre-order it on the Epic Store.
Yeah, if you got the money, you keep the money.
But I guess you're right because weirdly enough, yeah, like, and they actually didn't suspend sales of the game until several hours after this announcement.
right.
So you could still go, and I saw a bunch of people on forums. Like I said, it became the number one selling game, like the top.
Yeah, like think about that. Like people who were on the fence or like not aware that Metro Exodus was coming out so soon, then suddenly feeling this rush of like, well, if I don't order it now, I'm not going to be able to get it on Steam until the year 2021 or whatever.
Yeah. So I think it's exclusive on Epic for a year.
Okay.
So basically
a
year from now, it will go back up for sale on Steam.
But they are honoring those pre-orders, and I guess like patches and DLC and stuff will be available for the people who do end up with a Steam version of Metro Exodus.
Yeah, so they theoretically will continue conducting some kind of commerce around this game on Steam for people who already bought it and want to buy DLC in the future. It's a strange thing. And Valve came out and made a statement on the store page for Metro Exodus.
They added a couple paragraphs at the top of the store page that were basically like, "Yo, fuck this."
Yeah, like I think this is the first time they've like directly addressed a big game pulling out of Steam.
Yeah.
They've been quite a bit more communicative lately, I'd say, over the last few months.
Yeah, imagine that. I'll just read this statement that they put up. This is like right at the top of the store page for the game.
Where the game was still for sale.
Yeah, as of yesterday when the statement went up that you could still buy the game. That's no longer the case, but it says, sales of Metro Exodus have been discontinued on Steam due to a publisher decision to make the game exclusive to another PC store. The developer and publisher have assured us that all prior sales of the game on Steam will be fulfilled on Steam, and Steam owners will be able to access the game and any future updates or DLC through Steam. We think the decision to remove the game is unfair to Steam customers, especially after a long pre-sale period. We apologize to Steam customers that were expecting it to be available for sale through the February 15th release date, but we were only recently informed of the decision and given limited time to let everyone know.
I'm surprised that there's not a contractual thing that's like once you start selling pre-orders on our platform.
Well, I mean,
I wonder if
I bet that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I wonder if they just never had to think about that before.
Yeah.
Because of course you were going to sell on Steam. Man, this whole thing is getting cutthroat.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
And like their wording is not wrong. It is unfair to Steam customers.
Yeah.
But not necessarily PC players at large. I think there's still a lot of hand-wringing going back and forth and about like the Epic Store, and you still see a lot of people who are like, fuck that, I'm not going to install that thing, for a variety of reasons, whether they're like so attached to Steam that they don't want to run two launchers.
Yeah.
There are some people who, snidely refer to it as the 10-cent
they've got some
store.
insane
And
paranoia around 10 cent.
Then they're like, man, I ain't letting China on my computer.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's play some Ring of Elysium. Like, wait. So, but also, tons of people have already installed the Epic client for Fortnite.
And tons of people who never
played on game on Steam. That was that revelation not that long ago. Maybe you were out for that at that point too.
Steam did their like end of the year kind of wrap. Or no, this was the Epic podcast. On the podcast.
Was this the one where they said like, hey, cloud saves and achievements and all that stuff are coming?
It was maybe part of that. Might have been a different thing, but basically, like the upshot of it was like, hey, a lot of the people that are using the Epic client have never used Steam.
Okay,
like they are a younger audience that are not the existing Steam consumer.
Yeah,
so
that's like every grade school student in the country,
right? Yeah. So it kind of puts things in play a little more than you thought. It's less about like someone installing 2 stores and more about like or it is about installing 2 stores because it's about those Steam players having to move over to where all these other people who've never used Steam are. Right. And so they are more separated than you might think. Yeah. And it is kind of an age thing due to Fortnite.
Yeah, so Epic has an opportunity to basically establish itself in the minds of kids as like the place you get PC games from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is insane to think about.
And what would the Chinese government want? The kids, Brad.
Whoa.
The kid.
Yikes.
Look, I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking questions over here.
Okay.
Why was there a helicopter 20 feet off the ground spraying a field near the freeway this morning?
I can't comment.
What were they spraying?
I don't know.
It was fine yesterday.
V-Bucks.
What do they spray? V-Bucks.
V-Bucks
all over the crops.
Exactly. I've got this headache all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
That's not normal.
No,
Look at this.
No. Put in my Amazon order for 18 rolls of tinfoil.
Yeah.
Start putting up in my windows.
What's that stuff? The silver, the drinkable.
Colloidal silver.
Yeah.
So we're all going to be blue by this time.
Yep.
It's like real life cosmetics.
Yep. You're going to floss too, but don't call it that.
Yeah, man, this is just going to keep happening, I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird out there.
Yeah, it is. And what do you think happens first? Or what do you think the eventual, and this is, I'm going to ask you both to speculate here. Dota Auto Chess. What happens first? Valve buys Auto Chess and brings that team in-house? Or someone launches a mobile Auto Chess, or someone like makes their own new IP Auto Chess variant and makes a fucking $1 zillion along the way?
I feel like I would think it would follow the Dota model of somebody else will put out the League of Legends equivalent first, and then Valve will bring those people in.
Yeah, I don't think Valve is too keen on bringing, I don't think they're too keen on joining Valve, because like they did, the Dota Auto Chess people recently did an AMA, and it was just like, we're just working hard on our own game, and we don't want to go mobile, we don't want to do anything. So
their own game being Dota Auto Chess? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think that we're much more likely to get some sort of flashier, cartoony.
Or does someone buy that team?
Yeah,
someone other than Valve step in and be like,
could be.
Hey, we've got our own storefront and our own engine. What if you came over here and here's all the fucking money?
Yeah, are they making any money on Auto Chess right now?
They are.
Like how? I'm not sure what
you can buy candies, which you use to get a random courier, like a little player model.
Okay.
Is
that sanctioned?
You have to scan a QR code that leads you to an eBay page where you buy candies, so they can do it all outside of Valve's marketplace.
Wow. I'm surprised Valve is allowing that to happen, but this thing is so popular that
and they're using like workshop models which aren't fully out yet, which are just artists created for Valve to put in Dota, but they haven't gotten paid yet because they're not actual. It's all very kind of gray area.
Yeah.
So I feel like that opens it up either for Valve to step in and be like, hey, this candy thing is not cool, so come into the fold, or we'll shut it down. And then maybe they're just as likely to go somewhere else.
Yeah. By the way, won my first chess game. I'm a grandmaster now.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Come to me with any questions.
You're the Gary Kasparov of Dota Auto Chess.
That's right.
We did a video for that thing if you're curious what it is. I'm glad to know what it is. Not gonna play it.
Yeah, I saw some people in the comments saying like, I played Dota back in 2012 for like 30 hours, and now I'm reinstalling it to play this mod.
I saw people saying like, I tried it once and I'm completely hooked now. Like it
sounds like it's really good for what it is.
The more I play of it, I am enjoying it more and more.
Have you bought any candies? Have you?
No, and you like the nice thing is top 3 finishers get some free candies.
Ooh, free candy.
So you can work your way. You need like 50 for a courier, and you get like 4 if you win. So
those matches seem long.
They can get long. I think my winning one was like 40 minutes.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
PUBG.
Too heavy.
Yes. PUBG.
So heavy.
Yeah, well, good news.
Heavy name, heavy game.
You can go to Thailand and play PUBG Lite.
Yes, that's why I'm going to Thailand.
That's what it says here on your travel manifest.
I came to play PUBG Lite.
What are these pills here in your luggage that
what now?
you can do with those?
That's a parachute out of it. Yeah, it's a boost.
It's a boost.
Oh, it lets you. Okay, so you can play PUBG Lite longer.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Makes me run better and heal up.
Okay, good to know.
Pills here.
Increases my stamina.
Yeah, gets my stamina going.
They're putting out a thing called PUBG Lite, which is a stripped down version of the game that runs on much lesser hardware, but has its own dedicated development team, and supposedly is going to get, how did they phrase it? Exclusive content and quality of life features.
And it is designed to be free to play, which regular PUBG is not.
How is it stripped down? Do they get into? Is it still 100 players? Is it still the same maps?
Erangel map is listed as being
that's
in this beta.
That's the only map that's in right now.
But I guess the idea is that it's not that necessarily that the gameplay is stripped down. I think they even say like, oh, the ballistics, all this other stuff, like this is still going to be that game, but they're designing it to run on much lower hardware and it'll be free to play.
Yeah.
Cool.
The idea being like, hey, I guess at that point you can get into all of your PC cafes.
Yeah, hit the like Southeast Asia markets.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the minimum requirements are literally like it's a Core i3, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and Intel integrated graphics. So you don't even need a video card to play this thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's just weird that it's like a separate thing from regular PUBG.
Yeah, the part where they siloed it off from the main game is what seems...
They must just still be selling enough copies of regular-ass PUBG to not want to fuck with it yet.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of mess talked about PUBG, but it's still very popular.
It's a
lot of downloads.
I guess like the idea, or the way I've heard it described is that, hey, Fortnite is getting all of the attention here in North America. But if you go worldwide, PUBG is still maybe
huge,
edging it out.
Yeah.
Or not even edging it out, like significantly larger, especially when you factor mobile in.
The story on Polygon says that China is the biggest market for PUBG at the moment, and that it's also extremely popular in India. Yeah. So other territories, that game is still doing very well. I wonder if this thing will come out over here at all.
Well, I think that's they posted that test message, like their blog updated worldwide to note like, hey, this Thailand thing is happening. So it seems like part of this beta test is to see if it's viable and then maybe take it worldwide. I guess, or maybe they only take it to the places where they need to be free to play, like China. The same way like a Call of Duty Online,
right,
or that sort of stuff, like is developed for
those markets. It never comes over here.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a look at that thing just to see like what it looks like.
Yeah,
how it plays, because it does sound so...
There's got to be some YouTube videos out there of it. I bet we could dig something up, but...
I didn't pull this for news, but Jeff, you said you wanted to talk about it.
Oh, man. Everyone should go to Eurogamer and read the big story they wrote about Starbreeze.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I was a little reluctant to get into what might seem a little bit like muckraking or whatever, but it's not.
They've sourced it to so many different people, and this is.
It's
such a wild story.
It paints a dire picture of circumstances at Starbreeze. Well, a lot of the big details are like, would be so easy for them to confirm that they kind of speak for themselves, right? Like,
right. Their offices got raided for insider trading.
Yeah, like there have been arrests for insider trading. The company is in whatever the Swedish equivalent of like arbitration is at this point.
And Bo Anderson.
Bo Anderson, who was running the company for a number of years, has stepped down, and
he was fired by the board.
Yeah, former employees say he's kind of vanished.
Yeah.
It sounds like he was cleared of any of the insider trading stuff.
I guess, yeah. That
So
sounds like it.
seems like other people.
Sounds like it was maybe more like the capital firm that was, basically pushing a guy like him out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that you might remember back in the salty black licorice days of Grin, these are the brothers from Grin, Bo and Ulf, and
played a not minor role in the early days of this website.
And Ulf is now off at another studio doing GTFO.
Yeah, he founded 10 Chambers.
10 Chambers,
which is
that's
a
what it's
good
called,
name for a studio.
Yeah.
That game looks super
and
cool.
they did Payday 2, and Payday 2 got huge, and then Payday 2 maybe got weird microtransactions for a while and some other stuff. And Starbreeze seems like a studio that's been through the ringer. They started that Star VR thing, and that sounds like it's not, it never quite sounded like it was happening, I guess.
Yeah.
I started reading that article and they were talking about the Walking Dead game, and I had to look up to see if that had even come out. And it's my job to know what video games come out.
You're bad at your job, Ben.
It came out.
What you want me to say?
November, I think.
Yeah, I
came and went.
I played that Walking Dead game in the run up to E3, and it just seemed very middling to bad. Of just you're kind of making a Left 4 Dead, and this doesn't seem very far. And turns out, if the Eurogamer story is to be believed, which a lot of that stuff lines up in my eyes, to where I take that thing pretty much at face value.
Yeah.
That they basically had to swap engines over to Unreal and then fucking crank out what they could.
Sounds like it was a rough development cycle.
It is a wild story. Starbreeze is a brand name that's a studio name that is, worked on some beloved games over the years, and Riddick, and, of course I love that Syndicate reboot and all that other stuff, but a lot of those people went to go to Machine Games.
Yeah.
And of course, the weird history of Grin and Overkill, and Overkill's The Walking Dead is a Starbreeze production, and what happened when Overkill kind of came in and took over Starbreeze.
Yeah, they built it at the time as an acquisition of Overkill, but from the sound of it, in fact,
it was you immediately knew that, oh, wait a minute, the people from Overkill are now running Starbreeze.
Right.
Okay, so I guess that's weird.
Yeah.
The Eurogamer story gets into all of that stuff. Yeah. I think it is kind of a must-read story if you're fascinated by some of just the way business dealings in video games can go out. It's a really interesting story with a lot of fucking some salacious ass quotes in there.
Yes.
And quotes of the email that Bo sent out to the team the day he was removed, and it's just fucking wild stuff.
It's reminiscent of the Telltale stuff from last year in terms of a lot of big outlandish business decisions getting made and putting the company in a precarious position.
Yeah.
And bad things resulting from that, if you're interested in those kinds of goings on behind the scenes. But for me, it's just good to know what is up with Starbreeze. Because that name has curried so much favor over the years.
Yeah, and I feel I think on some level I kind of knew what was up with Starbreeze as soon as 10 Chambers happened.
Yeah.
I was okay, it's something's going on here, because GTFO sure looks at least a little bit like
similar kind of game,
Payday, but with aliens. Or a Left 4 Dead. But you both played GTFO D3.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, all three.
I am very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I thought that the footage they put out looked awesome.
It's got some cool ideas.
I guess I'm worried that it's still not my type of game, but it does look fucking cool as hell. So I always wanted to like Payday, but never could.
This has got cool cooperative kind of puzzle solving where, somebody's hacking a terminal at a command line and calling out instructions to a guy who's on the other side of the room to punch stuff into a door keypad and stuff like that.
That sounds cool.
It's still, it is still very much a 4-player, kind of wave-based, or, it's got that AI director feel of, enemies popping up at random times and stuff like that. It's got loot, though. It's got,
all right.
It's got a repeatable loop, from what I can tell, that looks like it's going to be really cool. Who knows what's going to happen with Starbreeze? They've got a new interim CEO who has come in and taken over, and seems to be committed to getting the company back on its feet.
Yeah.
So maybe this is not the end for the company, but some rough times recently.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does just help clarify things with Walking Dead deals and a fucking VR headset and just all the wild stuff. It sounds
and just the idea that hey, we talk about it with retro and say how many people are still there and stuff like that. Whereas the Starbreeze situation is one where you kind of know that, a lot of the people that made those games back then are not with the company anymore because of, they spun out to Machine Games or 10 Chambers.
Yeah, this story.
Or even just like, the idea that Overkill kind of came in and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
like it's
this,
weird. It's weird.
The story all but says like all the people that made Riddick in the Darkness left to go to Machine Games.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there. I mean, it was obvious, but to hear it said like that, it really confirms.
You could always compare credits and stuff like that. But like, man, that Riddick game...
Dude, that thing.
Like, that was the thing that,
Holy
like,
shit.
that's the thing that Syndicate still had. It was like first-person games didn't often feel like a real place, or like your interactions with the weapon you were holding rarely felt as like genuine and realized as they did in stuff like Riddick and
there's
the
something
games that they did.
I don't even know how to describe it. There's something about the way the first-person animation worked.
Yeah, it's a lot of that
felt
stuff.
Like you were touching the world in a way that most of those games don't.
Yeah.
God, that Riddick game, holy shit, man. Like, that thing set the office on fire back in, like, 04 or whenever that thing came out.
I like the Darkness was cool, too.
Yeah, Darkness was a cool game. I mean, whatever. I'm glad those guys are doing their thing with the Wolfenstein games.
Yeah.
They're still out there, just under a different name. All right, Dragon Ball. They're putting out a season 2 of characters for fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was announced at the summoning, right? The big tournament
Yeah,
this
that
weekend.
tournament over the weekend, yeah.
Sure.
Which was really fun to watch. I haven't watched any competitive Dragon Ball since EVO, but I caught the last half of this, and it was some really good stuff going on. Some new characters or not new characters, but lesser known characters.
Any feelings about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jiren?
I don't know who that is.
Videl?
That's my feeling on that. Videl.
Videl with Great Saiyaman
Videl's a great addition.
as her like
Assist.
like he's doing all the moves, all the cool moves.
Yeah, I like Videl and like the idea that Videl can stand on her own and not need Great Saiyaman, but also Videl is a person.
Yeah. When Videl has to fight Frieza.
Yeah. When you
makes a little more sense.
If you put Gohan in a dumb outfit behind her, spoilers, Gohan is the Great Saiyaman. Yes, Videl is probably in my top 3 favorite characters of that whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of the show so far. So cool.
Jiren's cool. Jiren's like
The big, well, not big bad,
kind
but
of
like
a Batman-esque
like
guy
a
where
like a
he's
Bane,
like
almost
but he's fighting for justice
in his own
way.
Yeah, he's like a space cop.
Yeah,
but
cool
and bald and
bald.
smooth.
The only good space cop is an anime space cop.
That's
You're
true. I'm excited to see who else is in the pipeline.
It's
How about the Dragon Ball Super version of Broly?
Okay,
I'm with that.
yeah.
I caught that movie. I finally caught it.
Wasn't it good?
It was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Jeff, you should eventually watch it when you
Yeah.
have the frame of reference.
Someday I'll see that, maybe.
Yeah.
Also,
That song, the last when they're fighting.
They do some really good stuff with Broly and integrating him into that. Finally integrating him into that canon.
Yeah.
I hear he sucks less.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even really that he sucked before. He just was a complete blank slate.
Okay.
Just like, I'm big and strong.
Yeah.
Just like me. And then there's a 4th character, right?
yeah, the whatever the fuck this means, the SSGSS form of Gogeta.
Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan.
Sure.
He's got blue hair.
Blue hair?
Yeah.
What?
Super
You see,
Saiyan God.
Gogeta is when they do the dance, and Vegito is when they're.
So Vegito is with the earrings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around. I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, no, they're putting another Goku in. Of the 4 new characters they announced, there's another Goku, so that's great.
I mean, there's enough slots to put in another Goku with his transformation in Super.
Yeah. We have now more than enough to complete 2 solid teams of just Gokus. I think this will be the 7th Goku added to this game.
7 Dragon Ball, 7 Gokus. That's what I wished for. More Gokus.
I wish for 1 Goku for every Dragon Ball. The reveal trailer for Videl and Jiren was great. The animation continues to be just like top of the line. I think ArcSys maybe are some of the best in the game when it comes to video game animation. It's on another level.
Looks great.
So it is, what is it, $25 for the whole kind of season pass for all 6
Did
characters.
they say 6 characters? Okay.
Yeah.
Characters.
Okay, so
6
2 unannounced.
6 total, yeah, they haven't announced all
Okay,
of
so
them
who are
yet.
we talking about?
It's got to be one more super character.
gotta be
Roshi. They have to put Roshi.
Dude with a shotgun and pickup
Or
truck from the very
Satan.
beginning of Z.
Satan.
Mr. Satan.
Mr. Satan
Yeah.
is a strong
if,
choice.
If Boo wasn't already in, I would love to see a Mr. Satan and Boo
Right.
like tag team.
Right.
If it was a 2-on-2 game and you could have that tag team, like all the custom shit that they could do. Oh God. Well, they'll put the dog in. They'll put B in it. There's your team.
It just occurred to me, this is kind of basically the Street Fighter V model, right? Like calling them seasons, having like a roster of 6 characters.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's what Mortal Kombat did. And,
Okay.
you know they had, here's Combat Pack 2.
Cross Tag did it similarly.
okay. So I wonder how long of a lifespan they're planning for this game.
Yeah, you have to wonder because it showing up in that top 20 list was honestly a little surprising to me.
Yeah,
Cool to see a fighting game up there at all. Really.
'Cause Street Fighter's done what, 3 full seasons of characters now? I think. Well, in terms of named seasons, like what they refer to as season 3, I think was the last one.
Yes.
I don't know. That seems like a smart way for fighting games to go.
Yeah, honestly, like they're up. I think towards the end of characters to add. Like, I mean, you can of course there's a million Dragon Ball characters, but like in terms of that the people
that
care
football
about
team
and want
that
to
the androids killed.
just every member of the Ginyu Force,
Yep.
even though they're all with Captain Ginyu.
PyCon, everyone's favorite filler.
I actually really liked PyCon. He was
I
so
thought it was
fucking
super cool.
He was like a cooler Piccolo, which I can.
Nah,
Put like
you take that back.
like a Professor Garo
Yeah?
could be in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
The
Maybe
Ox King, Chi-Chi's
Yep,
dad.
okay,
just
yeah.
in there.
with Chi-Chi.
Bulma's dad.
Yes.
Yeah, just smoking.
Just smokes him
cigarettes.
out.
Has his little cat.
Yeah.
Throws bunch
Oh,
of capsules
man.
on him.
Yeah, like you could. What if? Yeah, you could do Bulma as like a capsule. Like everything she does is throw down a capsule with something in it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah.
a fun, weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, like in Budokai, they handled Mr. Satan. They just gave him a jetpack so he could fly with everyone else.
Perfect.
You thought that was the end of the Dragon Ball news.
I hoped it wasn't.
Well, guess what?
What?
Namco has also announced a thing they are currently calling Dragon Ball Game Project Z,
Oh boy.
That could be anything.
which they describe as the most dramatic and epic telling of the Dragon Ball Z story.
It's a RPG, right?
Yeah,
It's an
I guess
action
they're describing it as like an action
RPG.
RPG. It's developed by CyberConnect 2, who did like what, the Budokai?
The Tenkaichi game?
Xenosaga? Xenosaga.
Did they do those Game
Xenoverse.
Boy
Sorry.
RPGs?
I think they did the Xenoverse.
I mean, they've been all over the franchise.
Yeah, CyberConnect
I
2's
just,
done a bunch of that shit.
but they also don't they do like Naruto and like One Piece stuff?
Oh well, the Ultimate Ninja Storm
They do a
people were the same as
ton.
the Tenkaichi people, right?
yes.
They do a ton of anime games. Holy crap.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dot Hack, Naruto.
Asura's Wrath.
yeah, they did Officer's Wrath.
JoJo's
Oh,
Bizarre.
hell
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Dude, if this
If
is
they get that team,
if this is just that,
Well, it would be more than it's an
Yeah.
action RPG. It's not going to be
yeah, I don't know what this
a cutscene game.
the trailer. Well, the trailer.
I mean,
is,
it's
trailer is
Dragon
a
Ball.
lot of
Well,
cutscenes.
Okay.
The only thing that it looks even remotely close to gameplay in this trailer is like a shot of Goku walking through multiple environments.
Okay.
Like they do the thing where it's just a side shot of him walking with the background changing.
And then he dies.
So
and
I
he's
don't,
walking on Snake Way.
I don't know what kind of game exactly this is, but
I hate that I saw this announcement and went, okay. Like, I hate that. Like, it's really. But then I saw CyberConnect 2, and I was like, all right, okay, they made Asura's Wrath, and then I had to remember, like, oh, they also made all those fucking dog shit Dragon Ball games.
They did, but now a good Dragon Ball fighting game exists in the world, and there's kind of been a bar set.
You'd hope.
You hope.
You'd hope.
yeah, I wish there was a little more information about exactly what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that bar has been set, but then we also have Jump Force coming out.
over-the-top battles and challenging quests. Create lifelong friendships and crusade to protect Earth from fearsome villains.
Finally.
Challenging quests. I almost wonder if it's going to be like some kind of open world thing or something. I don't know what. I'm just curious what the format is. Anyway, that's
They've
coming out.
made RPGs before.
Yeah,
That's-
okay,
that's-
sure.
They started, as Famicom.
Those
Yes.
handheld ones are not bad.
It's coming out this year. So
That's soon.
that is within 12 months, let's say.
Doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Coming
right.
this year.
Yes, Project.
Hey,
Z.
how about this? Dragon Ball Z.
I love it.
Okay,
Great. Why not?
done.
Just to remove some extra words from the current title they've got.
Yeah.
And there you go.
It's golden.
All right. Being as I have to run off to the airport in the near future, let's do some emails.
All right.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address where you send them. Here is an email from Wills in Wisconsin. Why does Jeff like Mr. Do so much? Guy is a mediocre game at best and is a fucking awful clown. He doesn't even have a double jump. More like Mr. Don't.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Mr. Do's a good game.
Okay.
It's got really good music and sound effects.
Okay.
It is fun to throw the ball.
Can you defend his clownness?
He's a clown.
What makes a good clown?
Mr. Do
Okay.
is a good clown.
Whatever Mr. Do does is
Yeah.
what you should do.
Yeah. His name is Mr. Do with an exclamation point, which I think is fucking powerful.
Okay.
But also, Mr. Do's Castle is a great game. The second Mr. Do game. You get stairs and you hit enemies with just a fucking hammer. You know, a ball, you just have a fucking mallet and you just go fuck shit up with it. It's good.
You're a clown. You can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Colin from Halifax, Nova Scotia. I was thinking the other day about how much I miss the GameCube smell? Question mark.
Yeah.
A weird sentence for sure, but also, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Perhaps it's because I was always schlepping that thing around to my friends' houses or just leaning in often to take out discs, inserting different memory cards, etc. But I know that the GameCube definitely had a weirdly distinct smell, and oddly enough, I miss it. Have I lost my mind, or do consoles have unique smells? Do you have a favorite console smell?
It was like plastic. It was like it was like half new car, half medical plastic.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Smelled
So-
clean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I filthed up my GameCube. A company contacted us pretty early on and said, we do custom console painting. You want to paint your GameCube? And so I think me and Ryan sent off our GameCubes to some dude and he painted mine fucking gold.
Like shiny gold?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like ridiculous shiny gold. And then sent it back and forgot to hook the fan up. So it immediately
Wow.
I had to open it up and hook the fucking fan back up.
Wow.
So mine just vaguely smelled of paint forever, especially when it would warm up, especially when the fan was not hooked up and it would get warm in there. You'd be like, man, it smells like paint in here.
Did you request gold or was
I did. I laid out the color scheme myself.
Did it hold up? Like, did it look good over time?
Yeah, yeah.
You still have that?
Was it professional?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, aside from the not hooking up the fan part, it was fine.
But like no blemishes in the paint or anything.
No, it was good.
You should bring that thing in sometime. I want
put a
to
chain
see what that
around
looks like.
like the Super Nintendo?
I think Ryan got his like Raiders colors, but shiny. Like a silver and black.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go tailgate with my
Yeah.
GameCube.
Sure.
It's got a handle on it. You take it anywhere.
Yeah.
The GameCube is purple. I will hear no argument
It is spice fucking
to
orange.
the contrary. Spice Orange is also pretty good.
Oh, I still want an orange one.
who
I
would
want
get a
Q.
black one?
I don't even like the GameCube, and I want a Panasonic Q.
Yeah. Yes. That thing is cool. For sure. Jim from Milwaukee. Sometime around the release of Res Infinite, somebody put out a nice deluxe vinyl package complete with an essay and history on the game's development. It's a fascinating read that briefly touches on the release of the Sega Dreamcast. The essay frames the console's release as very forward-thinking and ahead of its time. Was this the feeling at the time of release, or was that more of the feeling in hindsight? Was there a lot of optimism for the console, or did people already assume that the PS2 was going to eat its lunch? I remember it being kind of both.
Yeah.
Like, it very much felt like a next-gen system.
It came with the modem. And so for as much as you think of the PS2 as you know, the network adapter and all that other stuff, it didn't launch with that.
Yeah.
And the Xbox had an Ethernet port, but didn't launch with Xbox Live.
Right.
The Dreamcast, like day one, you could get on the internet and play games. And so I think a lot of people who had never done that before on a PC or something like that were fucking blown away. Like, I'm playing football over the phone.
Yeah. The big thing for me with the Dreamcast was it was the first console to come out after 3D accelerators got big on the PC.
Yeah.
So it was the first console where you were like, all right, like graphics tech is getting real now over here. Like now they're putting that in a console.
Yeah.
Like, let's see what this thing can do. And like at the time, like Soul Calibur and Sonic Adventure looked fucking amazing.
Well, Soul Calibur.
The
whale in Sonic
was
Adventure
pretty
looked
cool.
good. It's a good looking whale.
The games were very impressive when they came out.
Yeah.
Compared to what else was out there.
It seemed like a decent step up over the PlayStation at the time.
Yes.
And then you started seeing more PS2 stuff, like,
But yeah, that didn't last long.
as soon as Sony started marketing the PS2, or as soon as rumors of what the PS2 was going to be started hitting, between that and, Madden not being on the Dreamcast.
There was the famous stuff
all
like
that
EA,
sort of stuff. Like,
EA coming out and saying they weren't going to make Dreamcast games was a huge deal.
Yeah, they kind of... I feel like the viable window for feeling like really, really good about the Dreamcast
was about launch night. It was about the 9th of September, 1999.
It was longer than that. I mean, it depends on what
But it wasn't. I'm being flip, but I distinctly remember going to my friend's house the night that it came out and seeing his Dreamcast and losing my mind.
Yeah.
But then it was a few months probably before Tekken Tag footage started getting out there.
But I think we should go back and figure out when did that footage start hitting and all that other stuff.
Because I remember as soon as I saw the video of Tekken Tag, I was like, well,
okay,
all right, this is the future of games.
And
give me a PlayStation 2.
I really want to try to figure out when it was that suddenly the only people who felt really great about Dreamcasts were people that were importing games. Because I feel like that was a pretty quick turnaround to where you were like, well, we're going to go off to fucking Games, etc., and we're going to buy a bunch of Dreamcast games, then we're going to come back and figure out what the fuck El Dorado Gate is.
Right.
Oh, whoops, it's all in Japanese. We fucked up. We bought the wrong import Dreamcast games. None of us can read this. This is a role-playing game. Oh, God, we've made a huge mistake. Because that seemed like it was not that deep in. And
when did they kill it? Was it early 01?
That sounds about right.
Which, in retrospect, when you say that out loud, what the fuck?
Right.
That thing had an 18-month lifespan?
Yeah.
And then they came out and said, we're not making it anymore?
Right.
Dude.
The piracy stuff happened,
man.
which, wasn't necessarily an end-all, be-all, nail in the coffin, but it
did not help.
Fuck didn't feel good.
It did not help when that thing was flailing to begin with.
It's a good game, though. Fantasy motherfucking Star Online.
Yeah, some good games on that platform.
Good-ass game.
Yeah.
I liked Alien Front Online. That game was all right. But, it came out so late in the process, and it was an online-only game, not quite, but... the mode you wanted to play was the online mode.
Yeah.
It felt like you had about 4 days to play that game before no one touched it ever again.
Yeah. I have fond memories of Resident Evil Code Veronica. I don't know if those are deserved or not, but I liked it at the time.
I remember people loving that game.
Yeah.
But there was was that a Jill game? Was it
Claire.
Jill or okay? So Claire was the character that everyone fucking obsessed over, right? I feel like there was a while there that people were like, what the fuck is Claire doing this whole time? Oh my god, we need to figure out where's Claire in all this.
I wasn't that deep into the fandom. I just liked the games, but
there was a weird.
I think it was Jill.
Okay, yeah,
yeah. That people got super obsessive about, where is she?
Yeah,
you might
Why
be
is
right.
she now in leather?
Yeah.
Why is she in these fighting games?
Code Veronica was Claire on an island with a giant butterfly, I think. Something like that.
That sounds about right.
What is the state of Dreamcast emulation?
It's quite good.
Is it getting there?
Yeah, it's gotten there. I can play Phantasy Star Online, the Dreamcast version,
yes, of course,
on a PC over the internet.
Yes, we talked about that.
On a private server.
Yes.
It's come quite a long way. Almost all of the Naomi arcade games are quite playable on a PC these days.
So if I dug my Code Veronica disc out of my closet, what could I do with it?
Well,
do you need to download some dump or something?
Man.
You can't. Those discs don't just read, right?
We can get I could bring in my Plexter drive and we're gonna burn an audio trap disc. Okay, and then
Audio
we're gonna.
trap.
There's two. Yeah, the trap is huge on the Dreamcast.
Yikes.
Then we're going to rip the first layer of the Dreamcast disc. And then to rip the second layer, we're going to need to put this trap disc in. And then I guess at some point, you pull it out without ejecting the drive and
capture the audio.
You swap trick the Dreamcast disc back in. And then it knows to rip the high density area.
Let's see.
It's a fucking process.
Okay. Huh.
It sucks. Or some people, there is a way to do it with a broadband adapter and a real Dreamcast. Also,
okay. Interesting.
But those are maybe not the most accurate.
I see.
If you care about that sort of fucking weird shit.
Maybe I'll just get my Dreamcast next time I'm on the East Coast.
Trap disc.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot, but I kind of want to play that game now.
I used to think trap music was trance rap music.
That's not a bad guess, I suppose.
Yeah. Like down-tempo grooves.
Yeah, like,
sneaker pimps type stuff.
Almost like
Trip hop.
lo-fi hip hop kind of.
Yeah, see, the thing is the trip hop is literally what you're describing.
Do they have trip hop in sunny Southwest Florida where Jimmy is from?
Almost certainly. Yeah.
Probably.
If trip hop ever existed, which I'm not convinced it did, it existed in Florida.
It was about the same window as the life of the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
It's the show The Good Place has a character from Florida, and his best friend's name is Donkey Doug. And I think that, to me, is the perfect... Whenever I hear about, like, a Florida guy, I just assume his name is Donkey Doug now. So, sorry, emailer, but you're Donkey Doug in my heart.
Or Donkey Dad,
Yeah.
I hear Donkey Doug has funky mode this time around, so people are pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like original Donkey Doug.
Donkey Doug
We're
math.
making our fucking Donkey Doug Junior math.
All right. Here's Jimmy's question. With the push from console makers for backwards compatibility of games on their platform, especially from Microsoft with the Xbox, do you think there's a chance that when the next boxes come out that this generation of controllers will also work with the new consoles? I ask this mostly as I'm thinking about getting a custom Xbox One controller, but wondering if it will be a waste if the new console comes out and it doesn't work.
I don't think it's guaranteed that existing controllers will work.
Definitely not guaranteed. Do you think there's a chance? Because, like, the most jaded perspective is, of course, they won't do that because they make a ton of money on accessories.
Yeah. I'm going to say there is a chance.
But I
don't know that I would call it a huge chance.
If anybody's going to do it, it'll be Microsoft because they seem to be just making.
Well, you say that, but also PS4 controllers kind of work on a PS3.
Yeah, that's true.
And kind of vice versa, right? Yeah.
Just because Microsoft seems to be making such a user-friendly push with backwards compatibility and Game Pass is such a good deal. Like
Microsoft seems like the company that's in a position to try to be as friendly as possible.
They're laying
it's
it all on
like,
line because they have to.
Like, your controllers are going to work on the PC, so odds are maybe you...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, if the question is partially, do we think that there will be gigantic innovations and changes to game controllers next time out? I don't think so.
Probably not. If I had to
The
guess.
share button was the biggest innovation we're ever going to see.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would see, if I had to guess, I would think that the touchpad goes away. I just don't think it's been an effective...
PS4?
Yeah.
Well, they'd have to keep it if they want to do backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Or unless those controllers just work and they just say, hey, you need a PS4 controller to play PS4 games on the PS5.
Or these
something like
PS4
that.
games that have fucking touch support or whatever.
Something like that. So many games just use the touchpad as a giant button. You could fudge that for most of them.
Right.
Let's see. Joseph from Rockford, Illinois. Would the despondent Mario Party partiers willingly play a new Mario Party that replaced its standard minigames with NES Remix and WarioWare style games?
Yes.
Yeah. That would be a better game.
If the mini games were good,
Yeah.
it would be a better time overall.
Have they ever done like a
Good mini games? No, never.
No, but I mean like a competitive WarioWare style, like a competitive micro games.
Yes, the
thing.
Smooth Moves, or there was a GameCube game, Mega Micro Games, and then Smooth Moves on the Wii.
Okay.
Like the console games, basically, I think have had
like a 4-player split screen thing or something.
Yeah, there's a 4-player split in the GameCube.
Like
game
that sounds
for sure.
cool. I would.
Even Rhythm Heaven, like the Wii one, had the couple of 2-player cooperative and competitive games.
It's a neat concept that I don't think works all that well in practice. Like the split screen WarioWare stuff on GameCube. Like I really wanted that to be incredible, but I don't know that they found it as thoroughly as you might think. But
if they did it right, I would put up with that board game garbage.
Yeah, hey, check this out
for better mini games.
Bomberman Party.
Why not just play Bomberman?
Yeah,
because then you get a fun board game.
I don't need it though. But
it makes it more fun, Jeff.
What if it doesn't? It just gets in the way of the Bomberman. Bomberman is fun unto itself.
Just get out your box of Monopoly, and every time somebody lands on Park Place, you play Bomberman.
Yeah, but then I have to play Monopoly.
Or
I'd rather play Mario Party than Monopoly.
Okay. What about Cheaters Monopoly?
What's that?
Oh, they made an edition of Monopoly that is for cheaters.
What if it was Fortnite Monopoly, but you played Bomberman?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
What?
Nothing.
Yeah, Monopoly Cheaters Edition.
What is it? Just like the bank
is the version
is
that just
bigger,
lets
so
you
you can more easily grab money from it.
I forget what all it does. I think it allows you to like steal from the bank. I don't need a new version of Monopoly.
Cheaters Monopoly
to break Monopoly
in this economy. Come on,
yeah.
I've already had enough of that from the big wigs.
The actual
Kale from Texas. I've been wondering lately about a developer that's been radio silent for way too long, Rocksteady. It's been years since Arkham Knight, and we haven't even gotten some sort of teaser for their next project. Do you think they'll finally open up about what they're doing at E3, or will they do another Game Informer cover? I think we can all agree that Rocksteady is one of the most consistent studios out there in terms of quality games, which is why I thought their next game would have been at least announced by now. I feel like if we wait any longer, their game will have to release on next-gen consoles. I don't know. Maybe it is going to.
I would think even if they were announcing at this year's E3, that would be a game that you could see on new consoles.
Yeah. Well, it could come out this year if they announce it. They could announce it at E3 and put it out this year.
Yeah.
They came out and said it was not Superman. I think back around the Game Awards.
Yeah, there was the big thing of like
everybody
superhero. There was like some leaks that it was going to be superhero related, and then they explicitly said it's not Superman.
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody for some reason thought they were going to announce the game at the Game Awards. So they came out and said, hey, we're not doing that.
Every event ratchets up that feeling because everybody goes like, well, they'll announce it here. This
and
is
the Game Awards had some sort of like teaser for like a superhero, or like it ended up being Marvel something or I remember like superhero. There was a lot of superhero talk around the Game Awards.
It probably turned out to be Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah. People were thinking it was going to be that Square Enix.
Oh, the
Avengers
Crystal Dynamics thing.
Which that still hasn't really been
that hasn't
shown
been
fully
either, really.
Could be Birds of Prey. That movie's coming out, I think, either this or next year.
Is Rocksteady owned by Warner Brothers?
Yes.
They got bought? Okay. So we can assume it's probably some kind of Warner Brothers property?
I'm surprised we've never gotten... Or there might have been a shitty one on like the GameCube, but like a Teen Titans, because that seems to be one of their hotter properties and has been off and
popular
on.
with kids.
I feel like there was something
just like a shitty,
like on GBA or
there was a Flash game that was pretty sick.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
think I played
that. It was a fighting game.
Did it do like the Teen Titans intro when you loaded it up? Yeah, I remember that. That was fun.
Hot. That was hot.
I don't know what I would want Rocksteady to do. Like. They can't make another Batman game, but at the same time, I don't care about any other DC property as much as Batman. So, Batman just, I feel like, makes the best game, like all the gadgets and like he's not so super powered that he can just steamroll all over everything like a Superman would.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Aquaman.
get like Flash is weird because how would you do a game? I mean, it's just a bunch of time slowdown type stuff. Doesn't sound super interesting, but
plenty of games do that, and that stuff has been fun. But I don't know.
It's just it's hard to see what else would fit into the Batman mold, assuming
and who else is like hot on the level,
game.
like eternally hot the way Batman is. Yeah. Like there's no wrong time for a Batman game at the end of the day.
Right.
Like
we got that third Wonder Woman movie coming out. Maybe Wonder Woman.
That's assuming it's even another superhero game. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's some original. It's probably not, but
could be doing something.
Sherlock Holmes,
super different.
Go.
Dark detective man.
Encyclopedia Brown.
Yes.
Ooh, a gritty Encyclopedia
Brown. Fucking cut off Bugs Meany's head and fucking hold it up.
That's how the game starts. It's like somebody's killed Bug Meany. And
then it's like, despite feeling okay about him finally being dead and out of your life, you still feel compelled to solve the mystery.
Just means there's a greater evil out there that needs to be stopped.
And then it turns out
it's the Joker.
It's Encyclopedia Brown. He's been investigating himself, but he was in a fugue state.
We're out here to say that the Joker will not be in this Encyclopedia Brown game, but Mark Hamill's doing a voice.
Mark Hamill's doing a voice. It's very exciting.
God, that's right.
I'm the Josher.
I guess technically he wasn't really in the game. He was all just kind of hallucinated the whole time, but he was totally in the game.
He was totally in the game.
Yeah, that's, whatever. Like, I think there are fun ways to tease the stuff that's in your game, but like these like half-truths, like, oh, it's technically not a lie. He's not actually in it. He's like, fuck off.
It's kind of a lie.
Fuck off.
It just makes any next announcement you're going to make less credible.
Yeah.
A lot of retro questions this week.
I just wonder, like the Rocksteady thing, like that's another case of like it's been a long time since they've made a game. Have they had to staff up in anticipation of supporting new consoles?
Yeah.
Have they had some turnover?
Yeah.
Where they, did they work on a game that got totally derailed? Like maybe they have canceled a Superman game.
It's
at this
possible.
point,
Yeah.
you know?
Who knows?
Like
Who knows? Yeah.
You don't hear about a lot of games that don't exist. I'm trying to think of a better way to say that, but there are games that like
you miss 100% of the games that don't get announced.
That's right.
so they're making a Wayne Gretzky game.
Yes.
I think wasn't Arkham Knight 2015. Yes, it was. Yeah, this as of roughly around E3 will be 4 years since Arkham Knight came out.
Wow.
So
The Gretzky wing, fly in,
okay,
do your old thing.
sure.
The Red Wing. I know it's not his team,
It's not his
but
team,
like
but he throws down oil.
he fights the Penguin.
Yeah. It's actually just an HD remaster of the first Rocksteady Batman game, but with Wayne Gretzky in it instead. Old number 99 himself. He's got a nice smile, that guy.
He's on. You can collect the money that he's on in the game.
Whoa. When he holds the money, it's somehow worth twice as much.
All right. Yeah, a lot of questions about old stuff this week for whatever reason. Nick from Brooklyn.
I mean, I've been playing Commodore 64 games a lot lately, so.
Fair. When did it become apparent that Ultra Games was in fact just Konami? Was it a known quantity at the time? Was there a reaction from Nintendo of America to the blatant workaround of their licensing restrictions?
I don't think that was something they were trying to hide from Nintendo. I think that was just
yeah.
something that was, okay, well, if the letter of the law is this, we're setting this up.
Yeah,
And
I can't imagine any scenario where Nintendo didn't know what was going on there. I don't
could
think
be wrong, but
to-
Nintendo had a restriction that a publisher could only publish X number of games a year
Okay.
on their platform. So to get around this, Konami started up a sub-label called Ultra Games, and Metal Gear is technically released and published by Ultra.
Huh.
Yeah.
And
So it
Acclaim
was-
had LJN.
Yeah. Oh, wait, LJN was just Acclaim?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Fuck. And also...
was it like Wizards and Warriors was an LJN game, right?
Yeah.
Man.
And Acclaim also had on Genesis, they had Flying Edge, which was also just Acclaim.
Wait, did Sega have
I
similar?
don't think they did, but
that's weird.
I don't know, man.
Huh.
So you had studios, you had publishers just coming up with weird subsidiaries with different names. I want to say that this even existed in Japan, and that's why you have Namco and Namcot.
Huh. Okay.
But maybe that's that might be a different reason for that, because I think the Namcot name maybe appeared on non-Nintendo products as well. But
Yeah, like that first Ninja Turtles game on the NES was a...
that's Ultra.
I think both of them. The
Yeah.
arcade game, I think,
Yeah.
also was an Ultra game. Skate or Die.
Yeah.
Yeah, Metal Gear and Snake's Revenge.
I'm trying to think if there were any others. Like, maybe it's not the same case, but like Taxan or Naxat became Taxan or vice versa.
Tomas and Zamo.
Yeah, and they could feel each other's pain when you hit one of them, the other one, ah! We're putting out low G, man. Ah! But I don't know if that was the same case or if that was just a weird subsidiary naming thing. I still think my favorite weird NES era developer or like publisher name was American Sammy.
Yeah.
It's just Sammy,
Yeah.
but in America.
Yep.
American Sammy.
Yep. That was a good one. Arlo writes in from Manila in the Philippines about 3DO. This year, I set out a goal to play all of 3DO's Army Men games because I was fascinated at the volume of games that franchise has and how those games are varying shades of bad. There's exactly 23 Army Men games,
Holy shit.
and 18 of them came out from 1998 to 2002, a year before 3DO filed for bankruptcy. God, 18 Army Men games in 4 years.
If you were to, I would think, I thought there were like 4.
Yeah, no, there's Portal Runner, there's Army Men Air Attack, Air Attack 2, there's a Sarge's Heroes.
Vicky.
Vicky.
2 Vicky games.
Yeah,
She like, goes back in time and fights leopards.
that's Portal Runner, I think. Isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know. I didn't play a bunch of Portal Runner.
I just remember it from the Nintendo Power ads.
Okay. And then apparently, like, original ass fucking Army Men on the PC, the RTS was apparently good at the time.
Like a serious game?
Yeah.
I think, I have some vague
Like, I remember that being, like, good enough to get it off the ground, and then at some point, like, the only good Army Men games were the Air Attack games, because they were basically just Desert Strike.
Shen the Hook. Arlo continues. This led me to wonder how 3DO could afford to fund the development of that many games in that short a time. Trip Hawkins got a lot of money selling the ample stock he had in EA, but I also learned about them selling the tech for a console called the M2, which effectively was the successor to the 3DO.
Yep.
They were developing it for a couple of years, demoed it at E3, and even claimed that the console would be more powerful than the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and the Ultra 64.
Ooh.
Obviously, this console never became available commercially, but reading through all magazines during the lead-up to it, it looked like it definitely was going to be a thing. Does Jeff have any recollections about the saga of the M2, and did he ever see it at E3 1995? Does he also have any memories about the 3DO company during that time as well?
I don't think I saw the M2 at E3 that year because I in 95, I wasn't working at the time, so I was just kind of there hanging out.
Yeah, I don't think they ever had.
I didn't have appointments, so I think that might have been behind closed doors.
Yeah, I don't think the M2 ever made it out onto the floor of a show, right?
But that was like every fucking like EGM rumor column was just full of like the M2's going to do this,
dude.
Like whatever bullshit they were being fed that month.
Sushi X was hyping the M2 to.
I'm sorry, Quarterman is the rumors thing.
Oh, sorry.
Because
Sushi X was the reviews.
Yeah,
that's
because there were 4 of them.
That's right.
And they all just contributed to the rumors thing, so they called it Quarterman.
Yes, with 2 N's.
Yeah,
that's right. But yeah, I remember them like going nuts about the M2.
Yeah,
and how amazing it was going to be.
It was just ridiculous. Like I feel like even at the time, I was a fucking in my teens reading that and going, fucking, what the fuck are these guys being like? They being paid off to fucking promote the follow up to the 3DO. Give me a fucking break.
Like, didn't it turn out to not be anything special at all? Like even when once people got their
like there are dev kits,
dev
kits that exist and prototype software that is out there.
But like specs wise, it was not a big deal, right?
I don't think so
for the time.
I guess I don't know off the top of my head, but like 3DO was not a great system. It was and it was like super expensive, like a CDI or a 3DO. Or a CDI or a Neo Geo, rather. It was like the next tier of hyper expensive boxes.
Totally.
That you looked at the games and you were like, these are bad games. Like you've got video in there, I guess, and the video looks higher quality than Sega CD, but these are still not good video games.
Yeah.
The best thing you could say about it is that for a while it was the only home platform that had Super Turbo on it, and it was a good place to play Samurai Showdown. Crystal Dynamics did a really good port of Samurai Showdown for the 3DO, except the 3DO controller was ass.
Yeah, that was not a good controller.
But yeah, I remember seeing 3DO games at E3 and stuff like that, and like stopping and staring at Way of the Warrior for a really long time.
Oh yes,
because that was at the height of fucking look at this not Mortal Kombat game. Let's look at it anyway because I really like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Wait, this is not nearly as good as that. But yeah, I played a lot of Way of the Warrior at E3.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I had a friend who had a 3DO. Basically burned his one expensive gift for the year from his dad, who did not live in the same town.
Bummer.
And he got a 3DO, and yes, we played a lot of bad games on it.
It was a bad platform.
Yeah,
like there are not a lot of like there's like Twisted and like there's some stuff that you could pluck out now
like
and
charitably.
Go like, hey, look at this.
Yeah,
look at this.
Charitably, you could say it was ahead of its time.
Sure,
it was not all the way there.
A lot of like some, but I feel like the biggest games on that platform have ended up on PlayStation and Saturn. Like Need for Speed started on the 3DO.
Yep.
Road Rash on 3DO.
Yep.
Like they had a bunch of FMV and Soundgarden on the soundtrack in one of those games.
Sure.
Every console is important in some way.
Yeah, no, and
even the Ouya brought us Titanfall.
It's true. No, it brought us Towerfall.
Towerfall. Sorry,
that'd be.
I
would play Titanfall on an Ouya, like a 2D side. Anyway,
I don't know if this is
the 3DO. Like, there's a bunch of really fucking ridiculous shit now when you go back and look at it that is well worth your time in terms of just like look at this bizarre math educational software and just a bunch of fucking weird shit on the 3DO.
The only thing
Return Fire is a really great 3DO game.
Yeah. The only thing I can find on eBay is what it claims is a controller for the prototype M2 with a buy it now of $2,500.
Yeah, okay.
For the controller. I don't know how legit that is. There are photos.
I think some M2s got released commercially, or not commercially, they got released, I want to say they were being used to demo cars.
Does that look like a legit M2 controller?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
I
don't know. Why you would buy just the controller.
Well, maybe you have an M2 dev kit.
I wonder how many
need a controller for it.
I wonder how many M2 prototypes are even out there in the world.
But I think some of them got sold to car dealerships, and they were doing like multimedia software for like, hey, like to put in the showroom and be like, here's the stats for this fucking, Nissan or whatever.
Weird.
I think some of that software existed and kind of made it out there. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yes, there was a lot of hype around that thing at the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. One more old ass question.
Okay.
From Aaron in Howell, Michigan. What was the industry's general consensus of Game Fan magazine, and more specifically its owner, Dave Halverson? I've read fairly negative posts and comments from former colleagues and employees, but I always enjoyed the crazy layouts and over-the-top previews in the magazine. They definitely were not my choice for in-depth, discerning reviews, but were always fun to read. That's exactly how I feel about Game Fan from back then.
If you like screenshots of games that are out in Japan,
loved screenshots of games from Japan.
Game Fan had them.
Dude, they crammed as many screenshots into those pages as they would possibly hold.
Layout.
Those layouts were insane. God, just this explosion of like weirdly tilted shots, like sprayed across every page. They were definitely going for quantity.
Yep.
If you just wanted to see what a game looked like that you were probably never going to get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely heard some stuff about the operation of Game Fan back then.
Yeah, and then the magazine that followed.
What was that?
Play?
Yeah,
Was that what it's called?
Right. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, they had they were the ones that had the incident with the racist placeholder copy.
Right. Yes.
Making it into a final print.
Yep.
Of an issue.
That was bizarre, but also like I worked on print magazines just long enough to understand how placeholder text might make its way into the final book.
Sure, sure. Just maybe don't write.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Placeholder text of that.
What's it called? Lipsum.
Lorem ipsum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think wasn't Game Fan also where the Street Fighter Alpha 2 Shadows controversy started?
I don't even. Oh, was that like Saturn's got them?
Yeah, I forget. Was it the Saturn had arcade accurate shadows and PlayStation did not?
That seems like exactly the sort of thing that would have been in that magazine.
Huge fight.
Yeah.
About that stupid thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I didn't keep up with it. But like before I was working in and around this stuff. Like I was not a Game Fan reader. I would buy an issue here and there, depending on what they had in the cover or something, and look at some screenshots of it. But like the text was even hard to read sometimes because the way the background layouts were and stuff. Like,
but again, you weren't there to read.
No, that was the thing is when you did read it, you're like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It was okay. But you wanted to see screenshots of import games, which is why there are probably several dozen issues of Game Fan in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we have. Oh crap! I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to get out of here. Let's call it for emails.
Okay,
that's it for emails. That's it for the podcast.
You're heading out to see an unreleased video game.
Yes, back on assignment again.
That's right.
Happens. It keeps happening.
That's a January. It's a very January thing.
Yes, a lot of events going on right now.
It's been nice to see some games. Like I feel like we went into the year going like, oh, I don't know. There's some stuff announced, but we need to see it still. And now we're starting to see.
It's like I've got the 2019 in video games Wikipedia page bookmarked, and it's a pretty thin list so far. Well, there's not a lot.
And we already hit Kingdom Hearts, so what else is there?
That's true, yeah.
Nothing else.
Take the rest of the year off. Hopefully some stuff will get announced in the coming months.
Yes.
At trade shows and so forth. All
right, get out. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to go get on a flight. Let's
after show coming up here.
That's right.
And stay tuned for that. If you're watching live, give us a call. We'll talk about, I don't know, the M2.
Some bullshit.
Yeah. Full hour of M2 stuff from someone who barely remembers the M2.
Trip Hawkins.
Somebody who's never even
in the studio.
That's me. I'm Trip Hawkins. Ask me anything.
He's here.
Digital chocolate in the motherfucking house.
Now's your chance.
Chalk.
That's right.
That tower game was good.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey, this is Colt Cabana. I've been wrestling on the independent wrestling scene for the past 20 years. From the gathering of the Juggalos to the border towns in Mexico. My podcast is The Art of Wrestling, and each week I document my adventures.
We're in Winchao, which is about an hour outside of Shanghai by flight.
So Sumo Hall, the whole bottom is like where they watch sumo wrestling. The ring is in the middle, so there's chairs there. And then there's a whole top tier too, right? Yeah.
I'm coming up on 18 years of independent professional wrestling and nothing but. And to see it get to this level, I've gotten goosebumps like 3 times during this show.
As a guy who had a snake his whole career, do you feel akin to like the animals here and stuff?
Just the freak show part of it.
There you go.
Yeah. We're on a boat in the middle of nowhere, and this thing came flapping in, and it was like in slow motion.
It just crashed. It crashed into the front row. Hear a new documentary every week about the weird world of pro wrestling, The Art of Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts or ColtCabana.com.
왜 너를 보고 있어 사실이야 저만이 아닌 진실인걸 누구보다 빠르게 달리고 있어 하루가 다르게 나는 강해져 내가 좀 잘 나간다 해서 멈출 거